It is 7 o'clock?
Not quite.
Almost 7?
We got a couple minutes yet. And wasn't Summer and Joy both coming too?
Yeah, Bob texted me 10 minutes ago and
Thank you.
said what time to come over. I told him I was running late, so 7:15. Joy.
Oh, for some reason I thought you said Bob.
Yeah, Bob Johnson.
Oh,
Thank you.
good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, 7 o'clock now. So we'll call the Halifax Finance Committee meeting to order. It is April 2nd, 2018. We have a lot on the agenda tonight. We have mail, reserve fund transfers, line item transfers.
Thank you.
Meeting minutes, 7 o'clock meeting with school committees, which will probably go to 7:15, unless Paula wants to start without Joy.
Oh, wait,
Okay.
yeah, she had a handout as well, so.
Okay. Departmental meetings, council and aging need to schedule date to talk
you, John.
about funds to move, budget discussion, so that's the whole budget, and public participation. I got 2 copies. Bill, do
Yeah, Bill has a copy.
you want to pass those out to the...
Sure.
Take one, pass it along. Pass one. Thanks. Thanks. What's that?
Good.
Are you sure?
Oh, it's one
Sandy,
day.
you're good too, right? Good.
I forget about it.
Everybody. Except for me. He was just making sure. I'm a little rusty.
Okay, so for mail, we received from the Wage and Personnel Board today recommendations on FY19. Below are the recommendations voted by Wage and Personnel Board concerning requests received at our public hearing. Number 1, recommend to grant all non-union wage personnels across the board 2% increase of 2%. Recommend to reclassify the position of health inspector from grade 10 to grade 11. Recommend to reclassify the position of building inspector from grade 10 to grade 11. Recommend to reclassify the position of water superintendent from grade 11 to 12A. Recommend to rename and reclassify position administrative assistant recycling grade 6 to recycling coordinator grade 7. Recommend to delete the following under Chapter 35, Section 27, grandfather clause. Any regular, full-time, or part-time employee who is in his or her first year of employment with the town of Halifax on or before July 1st, 2003 will be granted a vacation accrual equivalent to the months of employment she has already completed following the 2-month exclusion period to commence on July 1st, 2003. Recommend to add to the following under Chapter 35, Section 27. A former employee who returns to service within 2 years from the date of separation from service due to a layoff shall be credited with a length of service attained at termination of her previous service for the purpose of vacation status only. Any such employee who returns more than 2 years after separation from service shall not receive credit for a former period of service on account of vacation. Number 8, recommend under grades and steps unclassified to replace the following: assistant outreach worker, $14.75 per hour, with the following: assistant outreach worker, $15.54 per hour. Recommend to change detail rate for special police officers and officers from other communities. Commercial details: greatest overtime rate for patrol officer under the union contract. Town details: overtime rate for special police officer. 10. Recommend change to the detail rate for call firefighters to time and a half. Okay. And then the other handout that we got was from Sandy, which has all the sheets in it, I'm assuming, yeah. So we have the balance sheet, town meeting, special town meeting, articles. Sandy, on the special town meeting from the free cash, are we taking that out first, then the annual?
The special town meeting is usually handled before an annual.
So the 58,000 that you have listed here, that's not included in the free cash?
Yeah, so,
I just didn't know if the
yes,
free cash number was less that number coming into this.
it was free cash. You see under, the remaining funds are 88,803, and then underneath is less special town meeting of 30,443.
Yeah.
So the 58 is what's left.
But isn't that,
Then we have the,
so that's the total left? Okay.
yeah, the
Okay.
30,443 is what's left.
Okay. Okay, another piece of mail we received from the Silver Lake Regional School District. We're copied on to the town treasurer, Hamaduchi, to the treasurer of the town of Halifax on March 22nd, 2018. The Silver Lake Regional School District Committee voted to approve the FY18, FY19 fiscal year operating budget of $25,220,898 as the amount deemed necessary for the operating costs of the regional schools. It further approved the reduction of the operating costs by funds estimated and on hand $9,255,073.97 and set the amount to be assessed to the member towns at $15,965,824.03 as the net amount required for operating costs. Additionally, on the March 8th, 2018 Silver Lake Regional School District Committee approved the approved the 2018-2019 fiscal year budget of $1,503,067.50 is the amount deemed necessary for the construction costs of the regional schools. The Silver Lake Regional School District Committee voted that the total amount to be assessed for the operating and construction costs to member towns be set at $17,468,891.53. You are hereby notified that the sum of $4,937,393.53, of which $480,981.60 is exempt from the limitations of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59, Section 21C, Proposition 2.5, is due and payable in 4 equal payments of $1,234,348.38 on or before the 15th day of July and October 2018 and the 15th day of January and March 2019, this being the proportionate share of your town. Additionally, on March 8th, the Silver Lake Regional School District Committee approved the 2000, what did that just say? No. Okay, additionally, on March 8th, the Silver Lakes Regional School District Committee approved the 2018-2019 capital plan of $490,878 as the amount deemed necessary for the capital plan and long-term equipment building and grounds improvement and maintenance for the regional schools. It is further approved the use of $490,878 of excess and deficiency funds to pay for the regional school fiscal year 2018-2019 capital budget dated at Kingston this 26th day of March 2018. This is from Jason Frazier, the treasurer, and Joy Blackwood, superintendent.
Is that one?
Yes. I just got a text that the school committee members will be at 7:30.
Okay.
Is that
I'm fine.
okay?
No, we'll do that.
Okay. So that's all the mail we received. So we have a reserve fund transfer. The amount requested is $4,500 to be transferred to a separate account. Present balance in that appropriation is $0. The amount requested will be used for pay for an appraisal of several parcels currently under Chapter 61A that have been offered to the town for purchase. This expenditure is extraordinary or unforeseen for the following reasons. The offer came in the middle of the year and there's no money appropriated for this purpose. It's from Charlie. Do you want to speak to it?
So the process is that if someone's taking land out of Chapter 61A with the intent to not use it anymore as agricultural, or if you want to do it as forestry, etc., then the town has the right of first refusal because that person has been paying lower taxes, so we get a chance to purchase it. So the town's been offered several parcels near, not the Taunton. Thanks. Winnetoxet. We own a couple of parcels that abut those and such, and they're large enough that a fair amount can be kept as open space. There's also some suggestions that we still need cemetery space as much as we voted on that parcel down against it several years ago. We still are going to long-term need space. The dog park idea, I'm not for or against it, but obviously if the town in the end decided they wanted to do something like that, that would be another use that could be down there. I'm not aware of any need immediately for playing fields with the number of kids participating in outdoor sports. It seems to be less, so I'm not sure that we need it, but again, that would be a possibility. But the only way of doing this is because the person has not had an offer on the property, they're simply taking it out of 61A, is that if there was an offer on the property, we could still do an appraisal, but at least we have an idea of what we were talking about in terms of, we would at the very least have to match that value. However, in this case we don't, so we need to get an appraisal done. It doesn't commit us to purchasing the property. We still have to go to town meeting and touch the case. But to have a decent discussion about it, we need to at least start off with a price. And to get that as an appraisal, this firm's done appraisal work for the town before on several occasions. I'm satisfied with their work, so, and that's the number that they came in with.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the $4,500 RFT.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
Pretty open and shut to me.
What's up? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay. Thanks.
Fucking wounded up here.
I only have 4 more days of antibiotic stuff, so.
Keep it all down.
We need a bubble.
Yeah, a little shield,
The salad bars, shields.
sliding glass.
It says name of appropriation and account number, does that get added before or after we sign?
It's going to get added because there's no appropriation right now until you folks just approved it, so then I would go to Sandy and get the account number.
Okay.
Do we want to talk about wage and personnel now? I guess I have a couple of questions as it relates to reclassification. Is there still reclassification going on for all the other?
Yes, that'll be for the next fiscal year.
Why are we doing?
These were the ones that came before the board, not this past January, the January before. That's what started all the reclassification, brought everybody forward, and we decided to go with all the non-union reclassifications. Since we didn't do that, we decided to move on these 3. The one, number 5, position of administrative assistant recycling, that was recommended by the reclassification, Dawn. Once he reviewed that position, it was recommended that it was way below what it should have been. So we decided to rename that recycling coordinator at a grade 7.
So of the 4, the only one that Dawn recommended,
Well, actually, the other 3 fell within the reclassification, but you have to remember that reclassification, the figures were almost two years old at this point.
correct.
Yes. So we decided to move on those first 3 because they came before the board at an open meeting, before we decided to do the whole reclassification.
Can I ask a question? Was this
Yes.
from the company that we paid to come in
Yes.
and look at everything, and so they recommended all these things be reclassified?
No, we based the first 3 reclassifications, the health inspector, building inspector, and water superintendent. They came before the board at our open meeting to be reclassified, and then what we did is we looked at the figures and realized that they were being paid below.
They just asked for themselves to be reclassified?
They had asked for themselves at the open meeting, so we were obligated to look at those positions. And we decided to put the rest on hold. Yes, Charlie?
And I believe that these positions, aside from the recycling coordinator, were ones that had come up 2 Januaries ago. They
Yes,
were
it
part of
was.
the initial list that caused us to be thinking about the classification and compensation plan. So it's in essence been on the table for wage and personnel for the last 14, 15 months.
Correct.
Now, when you guys looked at this, I know there was talk before about adding time to the health, like an assistant health agent previously. We had talked about doing that. That had come up. Did you guys look at hours of departments as well?
Yeah, we did. Sue did a survey of the 10 benchmark towns,
Okay,
and we based it on like the data we could collect.
okay. Did we get a I know we
No.
talked about that.
Yeah, I don't think we got.
She sent it to you in an
Yeah.
email a few weeks back.
Okay.
So the benchmark towns, were they all underpaid? Like everyone in all these people were all underpaid compared to the other towns?
Yes, the only thing is we don't have the job description, so we're not quite sure if it's apples to apples or apples to oranges, so.
I think
It's
I
kinda-
missed a few meetings in between, but last time I was here, like the sky was falling and we had no money. And we were canceled, we were gonna look at cutting jobs.
Okay, but wage
Wage
and personnel doesn't look at the finances. Wage and personnel only looks at the positions. Yes, Charlie?
Talking to Gordon,
Oh,
I had to talk to
Yeah.
the chair.
Yes.
oh, okay.
I know, you're used to.
I'm used to Friday's meeting.
One of the things that's happened, as much as you said, Diane said, that they don't look at what we can afford, they have to look in comparison to other communities. One of the things they do know, they have that information nevertheless. And one of the things is because of the proposed changes in the elementary school budget, that provided a better financial situation, that these measures can be contemplated without competing against other needs of the town. So that if the town wants to approve these, the money is available.
Did that answer?
Yeah, every time we have some money available, it seems to wanna, like everyone seems to wanna put it towards the employees. Not saying they don't deserve increases or whatever, but I feel like so much every year, even when we had the meeting a month ago and they were saying we have no money, we have to look at cutting and staff or whatever, we're not taking raises off the table. I just don't understand the mindset of how you can say we are really strapped for funds, or we're really strapped and we have to look at the taxpayers. It doesn't look like it's being looked at as a whole. It kind of looks like there's a lot of focus on the employees being, taken care of, which I understand that, and they're valuable to this town, I totally get it. But I feel like every year we go through this, and every year they get their increase or whatever, and we keep coming back to, oh, we have no money, or the taxes are going through the roof. I guess I'm just confused, because that looks like a lot of money. What is the dollar amount for all these classifications and raises?
I haven't had a chance.
Okay.
Are those reclassifications in your spreadsheet?
No, the 2% increase is not either, because you guys haven't voted on it.
Yeah.
So how do we not know what they are?
So, one second, I'll get Charlie
I
first.
don't have the actual numbers, but for the changes in status, in the sense of the changes in grades,
Yeah.
for these that are on the list from wage and personnel, not the 2% increase. I suspect that we're talking at most $10,000 out of the $22 million budget.
10,000 per position?
No. Yeah, it was
The health
Probably
inspector
close
was
to
like
it.
3,400.
Yeah.
And I want to say the building inspector was about 15.
Yeah, it was about 1,400.
And I don't remember what the water superintendent was. And I believe that the recycling coordinator was
It
about.
was $1 something an hour times 20, she works 24 hours. So that was short money.
$1,000.
Yeah. Yeah, it was less than 10,000, as Charlie stated.
No.
I guess my question is, where are we with the overall reclassification?
Well, we have the chance to bring an intern on board, and she's gonna do all the benchmark towns again, so we have the accurate figures for the next fiscal year, and we'll work on all the other positions.
Charlie?
So I suspect in terms of the timetable, what they're looking at is, we'll go through our process here, I don't mean the classification process, but go through the budget, we'll get to town meeting, we'll do everything. Then starting this summer, what they can do through the interns, pull the information for fiscal 19 from the other 9 towns, ourselves, and do the comparison now of everybody with the FY19 data.
Yeah, I just fundamentally have a problem with these 3 people getting some kind of adjustment when we told the whole town that we were going to take a look at each and every position, and suddenly these 3 people are getting, or 4 people are getting, it's not special treatment, but it's special treatment. I personally can't get behind getting those 4 people money while we Heisman everybody else that, hey, we're dragging our feet on this thing that we told
No, I
you we'd do.
understand. That was my first thought also. And then we, decided when those folks came forward for the open meeting that they should be looked at.
is there an order that it should be done, like by hire or by, is it by department? It should be
No,
looked
we're
at, or-
obligated to look at certain things when it comes forward to the wage and personnel open meeting in January. Whatever's on that agenda, we always have to look at.
But does that mean that you have to vote on it and address it right at that moment? Like if someone
No,
came
we have to address it before it goes to warrant.
But what about the people that came before and asked for their classifications? What happened with that? The ones
So-
that you're saying was a couple year ago or so.
So I can let Charlie talk, but I'll just briefly say that when they came before for the reclassification, they did some work on that, and then we hired the company to come in and look at everyone. So nothing happened with that last year. So they've waited a year plus so far for these positions that were asked. Excuse me, Charlie. Go ahead.
So there's a couple areas. One is that command can turn them off based on this. I don't mean radically off, you may be interpreting things differently. Is that for these particular positions, the evidence for a change in grade is far more evident than it was for the entire system as a whole. That these individual positions have already been brought to the wage and personnel board back in January 17, and so wage and personnel has been looking at those for the last 14 months. I think that, in the sense of their wage and personnel board is not discounting anybody else, but they've been very specific about looking at these positions, having evidence before them, even the updated information, because SUCO, who's the Secretary for Wage and Personnel, have done the most up-to-date data for those positions from the 10 towns, including ourselves. And so, in a sense, we're picking and choosing various positions, but there's reasoning behind that. And that's why the Wage and Personnel Board made those decisions on those particular positions. The other thing is that since all these are been before Wage and Personnel, if someone wanted to bring something that wasn't recommended to town meeting, they have the ability to do so. They could, I don't know how they would do that on the entire classification compensation plan, because basically it's a lot of information, there's a lot of data, but there's no necessary particular set of recommendations. But someone could put something together and bring it to town meeting for a vote at town meeting, even if it doesn't show up on warrant. The same is true for all these positions that have already been looked at starting in January 17. If the Wage and Personnel Board had not made a decision to recommend a change in grade for position X, that position could still be brought up at town meeting for a vote. And I think what Wage and Personnel Board wanted to do was get ahead of that question, make a decision on those particular positions, and bring those to town meeting. And town meeting will still make the decision ultimately, and the Finance Committee is going to make a recommendation also, but those ones are going to be brought to town meeting, and the townspeople will make a decision whether they want to make the changes in those grades for those positions. If they don't, that's up to the townspeople.
I have a copy of that paper that was handed out at the Wage and Personnel of that, for you to look. I mean, I'd like it back, but if you guys want to look at it now.
Sure.
Thanks, Jim.
I got a text that Joy's on her way over.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
So the health inspector, grade 10 to grade 11, increases $3,000. The building inspector is grade 10 to grade 11, which is almost $7,000.
No.
68 to 61.
No. So, that was only a couple thousand. That was about 1,500.
I can't imagine it's $8,000.
No, it's
The reason
not,
is
Charlie.
There was when we reclassify a position
Yeah.
from one grade to another, they're simply moved into the next grade at the step that would be just slightly higher with their
According to the bylaw.
So they don't move, if they're, for instance, I'm making this up, if someone's at grade 10, step 6, they don't move to grade 11, step 6. They might move to grade 11, step 3, because 11.3 is about the equivalent of 10.6.
Yeah, I may have been scribbling the range
Okay.
there, but the most important, these are my scribbles, but the most important thing is Sue's data that she collected
Okay.
of what everybody's, other towns are making in the benchmark communities.
So health inspector, Halifax is listed for 40 hours, Acushnet's 35 hours, Berkeley's listed as a 3-member board, Carver's listed for 19 hours, Dayton is a new position Board of Selectmen used to handle, Freetown's listed as 36 hours, Hanson's listed at 35 hours, Lakeville's listed at 40 hours, Rochester is split 50% of the time with Marion, and Whitman's listed for 24 hours.
Correct. And again, we don't have all the job descriptions to state exactly what their job duties are, so that makes it difficult.
So then you have building inspector, Halifax is 40 hours, Acushnet is 35 hours, yes for zoning, Berkeley is 10,610 hours, no benefits, Carver is 19 hours, yes for zoning, the range here is $58,403 to $72,617. I'm assuming that's a prorated rate. Dayton is 65,630 for 40 hours, yes to zoning. Freetown is $36.33 per hour, 36 hours, yes for zoning. Hanson's 32,984, 19 hours, yes for zoning. Lakeville's 81,440 hours, also the facilities manager and also zoning. Rochester's 45,598, 30 hours, yes for zoning. Whitman is 64,201, 20 hours, yes for zoning. So.
And then we also had Dawn's survey to base it on also.
Okay. Then we have outreach worker.
We didn't vote on that one.
Okay.
We passed that one.
Recycling coordinator. We have AA grade 6 currently. Acushnet has none. Berkeley has the highway department overseas. Carver has none. Dayton has none. Freetown has none. Hanson has $13,021, 16 hours. Lakeville has none. Rochester is an outside contractor. Whitman has none. And then just to finish up, water superintendent, $73,833. God bless you, at 40 hours. Acushnet is $94,627 at 40 hours. Also the DPW super. Berkeley has none. Carver has $40 an hour for 40 hours. Dayton has none. Freetown has $23.40 at 40 hours. Water data acquisition manager. Hanson's $80,339 at 40 hours. Lakeville has none. Rochester has none. Whitman has $94,105 and 40 hours.
Okay, so what we did for the grade 12, where the police chief, fire chief are in it and included the holiday hours, we are doing a new grade 12A without the holiday hours.
Okay.
So he won't, his annual salary will not include the holiday hours.
Okay. What other issues out of the wage and personnel?
We voted the 2% across the board. As
What
the,
is that total dollar amount then?
for the 2%? We didn't, did we have that
Yeah,
total?
it's,
Close to 100?
approximately 98,500.
Yeah.
But that includes all the union
That-
and the elected officials?
It included the teachers too, didn't it?
No,
Oh, it
the
didn't.
teachers
Oh,
are
that's
under
right.
separate.
Okay.
They're under their own budgets.
And these people that will be reclassified, they get their reclassification and they get the 2%?
Yes, it'll be 2%, Mary, across the board.
But then the only other change
The
is
other
the
ones were
special
housekeeping, yeah.
police officers.
Yeah.
All right.
Those were recommended by Charlie.
Number 5 was the only other one.
Yeah, number 5 was the one that,
Recycling coordinator.
Recycling coordinator.
No other town seems to have one, none of our benchmark towns have a recycling coordinator.
no.
How do they do it?
It might, I'm not really sure, I don't know if it's rolled into the highway department or another department, if it's included in their salaries.
So the ones that we have data on, outside contractors, Rochester.
Yeah,
Hanson's 13,000, 16 hours a week. Berkeley, the highway department oversees, and us. So 1, 2, 3, 4 towns out of the 10
Yeah.
have that position.
Right. I mean, if a town, for instance, doesn't have a transfer station, it's unlikely they're gonna have the same position that we have in some sense.
Correct.
Because ours is not just recycling, when you see, that's a shorthand in terms of the operation of a transfer station. So that we handle recycling there, we handle the electronics waste, we handle bulky waste, we handle all sorts of things down there. That's not just pure recycling. She also handles all the contracts for solid waste, and all the other types of contracts for solid waste and recycling. So it's not just running the center, it's running the 2 contracts in the programs. And also supervising the personnel that are down there. So, you know, if a community does not have the equivalent of what we have, then they're never going to have a person doing that. And if they do have the equivalent, they may or may not have a separate person running that, all those things that ours does. For instance, some communities have Department of Public Works, where there might be an overall manager or director for the DPW that covers those things. But Steve Hayward was at the Wage and Personnel Board meeting on Friday, and he would like to be more involved in the recycling and solid waste operations, but right now he's not. And he's not saying that he doesn't want to be, but he's astounded at the amount of work that Susan does right now, that the position does right now.
We have a new job description too for her,
Okay.
based on the new job title.
As opposed, he doesn't supervise the employees down there on a day-to-day basis, as an example. He doesn't negotiate the contracts for recycling solid waste, as an example. She does a lot more. It's not an administrative assistant position in the sense of there's no administrative assistant in town that runs an operation at the level that the current occupant does.
Do we want Barbara?
I just have something just crossed my mind as I was looking at these. Halifax rates that they're getting for pay is what they are currently making in these positions? That's where the rate of pay came? I have the same sheet with.
Oh, from that right there?
Yeah.
Say that again, Barbara?
So under Halifax, it's saying, just for example,
Oh.
health inspector, $66,000.
Correct.
So that's what she's.
Yes, that's her current salary.
Okay, so she could already be at the top of her salary.
The top of her grade, yes.
So the
Which she
same could
is.
be said for the other towns as well. So you could be comparing somebody who's on a step 1 or 2 in Halifax to a step 5 in another town.
Unlikely. I suspect all these people are step 6.
In town or out of?
Here. I mean, the only one might be the water superintendent, but I think he's at 6
They'll be
also.
step 7.
Yeah.
I mean, Susan's been here for close to 20 years. She's definitely at step 6. Kathy Drinan's the same
Yeah,
thing.
she's at step 6.
Rob would be the exception, I
He's
think.
I think he's a
He's
for
step
FY
6.
19.
Okay, he's step 6 for FY19. So we're comparing the high end, but all of them are at the high end.
I guess I was thinking a couple might be a bit long, but you already step 6, kind of slow.
Time starts squeezing.
Yeah, I guess, sorry.
And they probably he came in at highest step when he was first hired.
Do we want to vote these tonight?
I think we'll need to vote these tonight, but I think we should table them until we do the school.
Okay. Is everyone
Yep.
comfortable with that? So just to bring everyone up to speed on the elementary school number that we have in our spreadsheet is the updated number that the elementary school voted last week, correct, Sandy?
Yes.
Okay, so we have $5,422,693 at the regular elementary school. We have vocational at $214,719. We have special needs tuition at $1,820,301. We have special needs transportation at $415,000 $265. We have the Silver Lake assessment number at $4,456,412. And then we have the Silver Lake debt exclusion at $480,982. So we have a change at both the elementary school cost and then the tuition, special needs tuition. Those are the two items that changed, and then then Silver Lake's number changed as well from what we originally had talked about at that previous meeting. So you just came from the elementary school meeting, so
And Summer's on her way.
Okay, do you wanna-
We're doing it started without us, so.
okay.
We'll be here a while.
Okay.
So hold off on that. Do you want us to hold off?
Silver Lake, but Paula and I are here. Do you mind if we do Silver Lake?
Go ahead.
first?
Absolutely.
We put together a one-page document to sort of take you through the budget changes
Okay.
from last year to this year, just to help the discussion. And then an updated assessment page.
Okay.
The assessment, the numbers are the same. We just don't know if it's an easier summary for you.
For this one.
Have an easy way. So this is just
Yeah, that's the only thing I would point out by saying, Joy and I sort of tag team the discussion about, we really tried to take to heart the discussion that you folks and the selectmen spearheaded with all the town departments. And if you watched our school committee meeting, the nights that we were hammering through the budget and making the cuts, it was a painful discussion. We cut quite a bit. We came down to what you have before you, that the school committee feels is a reasonable position for the upcoming budget, trying to do justice to what we're offering the kids. I'm going to hand it over to you in just a second, but I hope this will help us step through what is included in the budget and try and give you our rationale for why we either added it or maintained it in the budget.
So when we started our version 1 budget, we had a 3.98% increase. We had something happen which was wonderful for us as a school system, was we had 4 retirements that came forth at our version 1 budget. We normally don't get that number of retirements, and it provided us an incredible opportunity to make some changes to our curriculum and still provide cost savings to the towns. Within a month or so of that, we also got another retirement of a CTE teacher, but we had 4 initially for our version 1 budget. And they were 2 remedial reading teachers, an adjustment counselor, and a special education teacher were our initial 4 retirements. And then we also had a carpentry teacher who retired. Their 5 salaries totaled $449,000. So again, these were long-term, very veteran teachers who retired. Provided us an opportunity for some replacements and for making some changes in our program by just replacing the positions. So we replaced those positions with 5 new positions. One was a STEM teacher, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, again, to strengthen our science opportunities, to really work with our Project Lead the Way, and some of our robotics programs. With everything that has been going on in the news and in the district, one of the areas that we really feel strongly about is providing additional supports for all of our students, providing as they need it for the social emotional learning, and if they have different anxiety things going on. And we're replacing it with an adjustment counselor, also adding a 0.5 adjustment counselor to work with and to provide supports for some of our substantially separate programs, which we house in district. We want to keep all our kids in district, which provides cost savings to the town. Remember, Silver Lake doesn't have our out-of-district special ed students. They feed back to the elementary budgets. The elementary budgets fund students from age 3 through 22. okay? So if they're substantially separate out of district, even in our in-district, out-of-district programs, if that makes sense to you, they come out of the elementary budget. So these provide supports to keep them in our brick and mortar, within our buildings, okay? Because that's the cheapest way we can meet their needs, most cost-effective way, and least restrictive environment. I know that wasn't good, was it? Don't laugh. Sorry.
Joy, so just to ask, so in the special needs tuition, line 73, we have, that's our line 73.
Where are you?
So the special needs tuition includes payments to Silver Lake for kids to stay in district, but out of, like in...
So we have programs, one of the new programs we're looking to develop is our age 18 to 22. I think you may have been at the program when we talked about it. So that is a child who will remain in our brick and mortar of Silver Lake, but only the towns pay for the children that are in that program. So if you have a child in that program, you're billed for that child, but you don't pay the full amount. If Kingston has 3 kids, Kingston pays for 3 of their students. So you're not picking up the cost of Kingston students. You're billed just for your children.
But that one is, in our line, the special needs tuition that the elementary school votes, there are some children that attend the brick and mortar Silver Lake, but they're billed in this line.
There will be a few, and they're the ones that are in a revolving budget.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
It's outside of the Silver Lake budget, and that's why it's done that way.
Okay.
Okay. And we also have a .5 allied health teacher. This is something that we've talked about for quite a few years. The other .5 of that position will be funded through a grant, and that will allow students to come out with a certified nursing assistant license by their 3rd year. And so they'll be able to go right out into the job market. There's a huge draw and a need for that. It's a Chapter 74 program. Once we meet the Chapter 74 criteria, those children will receive more Chapter 70 funds. It's a great program, thank you. We're really excited about it. It is a program that there is incredible need. I mean, if you look in your paper and help, one of the areas that are usually the most tend to be the nurses' aides. It also will allow children who want to go off to college and become physical therapists, medical degrees, nurses, etc. It gives them that foundation. So we are looking as a startup for that program. And again, .5 of it is funded through the budget, .5 the grant.
It will also help keep the kids that are interested in this field from going to another school. We'll keep them in-house here.
Which again is saving the town's money because it is very expensive for the out-of-district programs. We're replacing the carpentry teacher that retired. And the other program that we're adding up at the high school is called a BRIGHT program, and it stands for Bridge for Resilient Youth in Transition. So we have students in the high school who may have gone out and had a concussion from a football game, soccer, roughhousing with their brother in the house. And these children can't come right back into school. Often what happens is they can't be exposed to some of the screens. You know, if you've ever had anyone in your family who's had a concussion, they can't look at phones, they can't look at computers. Their anxiety level, they might not be able to last for a complete day. It can be a very difficult transition in. We also have children who are going through difficult times, and they may have anxiety, they may have an eating disorder, they may have had other issues going on. These are not necessarily special education students. In more cases than not, they are not special education students. These are our students who are going through some sort of trauma or some sort of issue in their own life. This program provides additional supports, allows them to access the curriculum, stay within the building, hopefully not go into a hospital setting, which is often what happens to some of these students, which is very costly for us, for you, as a town in terms of funding their program. So we're one of the few surrounding high schools that don't have this type of program. So this is something we've worked towards for a while. Some school systems calls it like a Zen room. Some people have different titles for it. This is actually a program that the BRIGHT stands for, and an adjustment counselor would coordinate that. But again, keeping our children in our brick and mortar buildings, which is our goal, which provides savings to the town in the end. So the 5 retirements were $449,000. The 5 replacement positions are $304,000. There is one other thing, and this is actually on top of the actual 5 positions. Our auditors for the last I've been here 12 years, at least 12 years that I've been here, have asked us to hire a treasurer, a part-time treasurer, which would oversee when we do transfers of money, like when we do payroll, oversee, to make sure everything is balanced. Right now, what happens is I make all the financial transfers. We keep everything as separate as we can, but our auditors feel we should have more of a separation. So it is for $6,000. We believe it would be 50 an hour. I think we worked out, I don't remember what the math was now. I think it works out to be about 5 hours a week for 12 months of the year, something along those lines. But it would be a total cost of about $6,000. So that, again, is something that our auditors have requested for quite a few years, and we finally realized we need to do that.
And actually, we're at the point now where auditors cite these things for a couple of years in a row, and then if you don't act on them and they still feel it's warranted, and I'm going to forget the term off the top of my head, it's no longer it's no longer a suggestion. It's highlighted in your audit as something that you're...
As a deficiency.
As a deficiency.
Thank you.
So we're going to hit that point with the auditors in the next audit.
Right.
If we don't act and hire this.
All right, so again, that's a $6,000. So the savings between those retirements and those replacement positions were $145,000. So that was reduced from the budget. We had, Charlie wrote a lengthy letter and talked about the fact that because we voted our shared cost budget first, there was a sense that that budget was sort of kept sacrosanct, like it wasn't being touched. Again, I have a great relationship with my friend Charlie back there, and I took it very much to heart. We ended up with a retirement of a .6 bookkeeper on February 28th, and even though we had voted our shared cost budget, we sat down and we reviewed our processes, and we believed we could get by without that .6 position. So I made a recommendation to cut that position from our budget, and we revoted it and provided a cost savings total of $28,000, which was broken between all the different budgets. So that was cut from the budget, and right below it goes from the differences, the summary of the increases from version 3, the cuts that we took from version 1. The fixed cost totaled 85.3% of the increase, and that was personnel, retirement contribution, Medicare, transportation, insurance, and utilities. And then in day-to-day operations, that was only 9.9% of the increase, a little bit textbooks, a little bit technology, a little bit equipment. And then all other increases, decreases was all of $31,000. As you can see, we are very much bare boned. There is very little beyond our fixed cost increases. The difference between version 1 to version 3 brought us down to an overall increase in our budget of 2.67%. I don't know if this format helped you, but I thought it was a pretty quick summary of a lot of long, somewhat painful meetings at times.
So, just let me check my math real quick.
Are you going to be able to find a treasurer for that small amount of time and money?
I think we might, we have people like business managers that are retired, people from banks who are retired. Apparently it's not an uncommon, I don't want to say retirement gig.
Yeah.
But
That's what I was wondering, because
Apparently
that seems like...
Yeah.
Apparently they'll take a small loan for various school districts, so,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, it was actually something that we've done some research into, and our auditors, checked around some of the different schools that they use, and again, we're one of the few schools that did not have a treasurer. So it's not a huge time commitment.
Seems kind of crazy that you're doing all the transfer and stuff.
Again, there's, who else is there? I mean,
Yeah, I know.
It's better for me than Christine.
Yeah.
So, we keep everything as separate as we can, but.
Yeah.
So on the total increase to the towns,
Yep.
the total assessment, it's
Yes.
$790,019.14, where the total budget difference is $656,523.
Not sure where you are.
And I'm sorry, go ahead and say that first
So
part again?
if you total on this column here,
Yep,
I've got $790,000, $19.14.
you're saying this is added to,
The difference between FY19 and FY18.
You're saying there's a difference in the number?
I'm just,
I think what you're pointing out, Gordon, is that it's a substantial portion of the increase is coming from the three communities rather than from Chapter 70. That's not the fault of Silver Lake, obviously. The state aid number is lower. There's a couple things going on there. One is the charter school problem.
Yeah.
The other is simply Chapter 70 funding isn't adequate, whether it's Brockton, us, or anyplace else. But the challenge for all of us, whether it's Silver Lake or the three communities, is how do you balance a situation where, and I'm not saying all the needs are justified, I'm not going to argue that, that's not the point I'm arguing one way or another right now, but whatever budget is approved, in the end, more and more of that burden is falling upon the three communities rather than state aid numbers. And so there's a balancing act, and people have talked about this even tonight, between what can we ask the taxpayers to put up and what do we have to spend in order to provide those services, whether they're school or whether they're personnel in this building.
so, 656,523.
Glad you got it.
So we've lost an aid of 100, well, from the revenue side, we've lost $133,496 from last year.
Okay. It's possible.
So I guess from my perspective that I've been saying for a long time about the sustainability of the budget, this is the issue where we lose $133,000 in 1 year from Chapter 70 total. And now the towns have to make up that portion of that budget. And I just, I mean, if the towns weren't making up that, so if it's 656,
I'm sorry, I'm already asked
That's-
the dog park. Mhm.
You know, and again, I understand and appreciate that, but I don't know how to be accountable for the states.
I don't think it's the fault of Silver Lake, but I do think it's the budget that's not sustainable as we go forward, if we're gonna continue to see this type of change. I think that, you know, we'd be looking at a whole percent less if the state was keeping the funding. It's not the fault of Silver Lake, I understand that. But I think the reality is when we look at the budget, going to a 5.2% total assessment increase is what the issue is. So it's not sustainable for the town. It's not sustainable to have a $175,000 increase when we're looking at $300,000 of Prop 2.5.
You know, and again, we worked very hard to come to the town's number. You know, when you and I had initially
Right.
spoken, the initial number had been in the vicinity of 200,000. Then, you know, some of the
Yep.
information came in and you asked us to try to get down to 150. We're at 175 in terms of your increase, which, you know, is about as dead in the center as you can be. You know, I appreciate that it's 25,000 more than what you asked, but, you know, again, we made substantial cuts.
So, I mean, I don't, the budget, the information that you presented at that budget, I don't think the school committee took to heart, not you, Paula, because you stood up and you spoke and said what happened at the town meeting, but the other people in the meeting, I don't think have appreciated what the budget contained and what changes they could have made. There were a number of other members of Silver Lake that took the attitude
Go ahead.
from that meeting that they weren't going to make any more changes, they cut enough, and they weren't going to make any change. I mean, the library, the junior high principal said that they could make the cuts, and at the meeting it was, well, we're not going to cut that.
Well, I think, I know exactly what you're saying, Gordon, and I'm not in disagreement with what you just said. I think Jim said he could make the cuts, but if I'm recalling his discussion around that, it was going to be a high level of pain to make those cuts, if I'm not mistaken. Back to what the committee, the committee's position is, and as we've talked about already tonight, it's a balancing act. What the school needs to sustain, I'm not going to talk from a financial perspective, what we need to sustain from a program perspective and a quality perspective, while still moving forward with what you have to do. For instance, the healthcare CTE program, it is such a win-win in so many ways. You can't hold off on adding something like that year over year over year, balanced against the taxpayers. I mean, we're all taxpayers as well. I pay enough in taxes. I really don't want to pay any more either. But somewhere there has to be a balance. The committee felt that this was an appropriate balance. We tried to come to the number Kingston wanted. Plimpton didn't give any feedback. Plimpton is sort of just sitting back and kind of watching what the other towns are doing, I think, to some extent, while figuring out their own. And then trying to come to the number that Halifax wanted. We got as far as we could. We came to what we thought was a reasonable budget. Kingston's feedback to date, most recently, is they're going to support the budget. They think it's reasonable. Every town's financial position is different. We came as close as we could. Are we going to have to continue tightening our belt? Is next year going to be any prettier or easier than this year? It's not. We all know that. But nobody has a crystal ball. We don't know how many retirements we'll have. We don't know, everything that's going to work into the equation. This is as close as we could get to 150 for the town.
Well, I think going forward, the town of Halifax wants it known that if the state aid money continues to dry up and continues to decrease, that magic 3% that you guys shoot for every year is going to have to be changed. We can't look at it like, oh, we kept it to 2.5, we kept it to 3. Well, that's all well and good, but if the state aid money that was coming in is no longer there, that number no longer applies, because now you're asking the taxpayers to pick up not only the 2.5%, but as Gordon calculated, the extra $133,000, which might be an additional 1% off the top of my head. So you're actually looking at a 4 to 5% increase for the taxpayer to pay, even though your budget is only going up 3%. I think the old school way of looking at 3% as the magic number is no longer viable.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
So under the 5 replacement positions, those don't have to go through. So those would be saving also, correct? So we have the 5 retirements. Let's just say we didn't get a STEM teacher. We didn't get the Bright program. That would be more of a cost savings, correct?
Although the Bright program is kind of a cost saving.
Exactly.
I'm just naming 2 of the things. I wasn't.
Yeah.
So the Allied Health should be a moneymaker, not to be.
Exactly.
By bringing people in from other towns, because
Exactly.
we don't have anyone, none of the folks.
And keeping our own students
Social.
here.
Right,
Yeah.
they do, but it's really hard to get in
It's-
over
and it's
there.
less than 30,000.
It's hard to get into most of them. So if we have one, we could certainly, how much do we get for a student from another town coming to our vote?
About between around 10,000.
How come it costs us so much to send somebody else?
I know,
It's
because
$35,000.
we're a comprehensive high school, we're not a full vocational school.
Okay.
And the other, and I apologize, I'm
That's
not,
fine.
I'm not familiar with you, but that is a little different with school committees, is the town votes a number, but they don't get to vote a line item. Our departments are different, so school committees have line item autonomy. So the finance committee might say, we don't agree with the 2.67% increase, we're not going to support the budget, but they can't tell us you have to cut a position. they can vote a number, but school committees have line item autonomy. Kim's smiling
I
because
hate
we
that.
have.
So in that case, you have to go to the school committee
Yes,
and go to their meetings and
Right.
suggest that that be the cut that they make.
and they may or may not choose to. You vote a number, but not a line item. John Creed is a former retired school committee member who really, that's why Kim's smiling. Wordly, we all loved him to death. But, you know, he always made such a point of that. But that is a true statement. The school committees vote a budget and, you know, and we have the line item autonomy.
You do, but can I interrupt? I'm sorry.
Sure.
I'm sorry I'm late for the meeting. You absolutely have that power. Again, it's not one of my favorite features because no other department has that luxury. Because when any other department goes to town meeting, they have to justify the positions individually that are in their line item, and they have to justify any expenses or anything new. And so it puts the school committee on a different playing field, as Joy had alluded to. And it's, you know, it's the business of everything that's why I don't particularly like it. I understand where you're coming from, but as taxpayers, I think that taxpayers do have the decision to say, I don't like that position, and I think that then the school committee, just like we have to listen to it, might have to take that advice if you have enough people saying it. And I do want to thank you, Paula, for really trying to advocate for the town, and I want to thank you for coming to the meeting that we had a few weeks ago. We were invited, all the department heads and everything, because I think it's really important when we come together to try to solve the problem. Because as Gordon has probably talked to, and I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm late, is that, you know, at the beginning of the season, we sort of put out this letter saying, that we think we can provide a level service budget, because that's really what we thought we could provide. And then, you know, we had some surprises, as we typically do, but bigger surprises than normal. And I know that you may disagree with me on this, and
I'm going to, because I know you're going.
Yes, you know, it's the same song I sing.
Yeah, in line item autonomy, I'm in disagreement, but I love you, Kim.
Yeah. No, I know. So this is my song, and I've sung it before, but I need to sing it again, because is that when we, everybody who's an elected official through the town is a representative of the taxpayers, and all of the taxpayers. So you as the finance committee have to check whatever your special interest is at the door and come in here. And you have a really special position because you really look at everything as a whole. You're the person putting all the puzzles together. And so with the school committee, I understand that the charge automatically comes from providing the best education that we can. But the part is, we have to provide the best education that we can afford. And I know you know that, Paul, because I know you talked about that. So I'm not signaling you out at all.
No, I don't feel it, so.
I'm saying that, like, the last few years, when we've been trying to, stop this sort of, we want to bond again. I would like to bond again with the school committees. And as you know, sometimes the last couple of years, my back gets up because I feel like your first draft of your budget, you say this is our first draft and we just want to talk about it, but that's what we have in our hand, and that's what we have to budget for, the worst case scenario. And that makes it a challenge for us, because even though you talk about we had to cut this, this, and this, if that was your first draft, it makes the everyday person think we cut something, but you didn't build as much as you wanted, is really what it is. Right? Because you didn't cut a position, you didn't cut. So by putting out this big draft, and I understand that you want to be able to talk about the things that you feel that you need, but I feel like that can be discussed, but the real, legit budget that you think that we can afford should be the first draft. And I know you're probably not going to do this, but I just want to feel like I need to say again, it just makes the relationship so much better if we could have a more realistic first draft, and we can talk about the things that you wish you could have in. Just like any other department head that submits their budget. 99% of them come in with the budget of which we say it's level service, that they talk to us about the things that they wish they could have. For instance, the fire chief, we obviously have an issue with retaining staff at the fire department. He could come in with a budget of paying the firefighters $20,000 more a year, but he recognizes as a team player he can't do that. And so we talk about it, but when we look at the budget, it just saves so much time and so much energy. And I think that if we could leap forward, then it would kind of mend our relationships.
We have, I apologize, 1 second, Christine. I won't get into too much length. We have a philosophical difference about this.
Yeah.
We don't ask the school personnel, the staff, to come in with a pie-in-the-sky luxury budget. We ask them to come in with version 1 with, what would you like for next year to run this school? And that includes replacing 10 or 12-year-old textbooks. It includes, you know, the right amount of paper to have a copy machine run the way it should for the year to support the school. It's not pie in the sky, new desks, it's not fancy equipment. It's what do you need to maintain the school? We start there, and as you know, the past few years that I've been chair, and probably before that, we tell everybody, version 1, this is our starting point. People have to get comfortable with that. I want to know what those building principals need to run the school the way that they would like to. And then financially, we can't have this. So over the course of the next few meetings, bring me down to what financially fits the towns. And we're in a district, so we can't necessarily manage to the number that Halifax wants us to, or that Plimpton wants us to, or that Kingston wants us to. We're in a district. We have to come to a number that's agreeable by those 3 towns to some extent. And then we chisel away and we come down to the final version, and that's what we put forth. As long as I'm on that committee, I'm going to have that mentality. I don't think it should break our relationship. I don't think it should be that difficult to understand or swallow. It's running a school is different than running a lot of other departments. This is the way we get comfortable that we have done our due diligence to understand what those schools need and how we can equip them the best we can with what they need, and maybe add a CTE program that will be a win-win and bring other students in, and we try and balance it the best we can. Now I'm going to get off my soapbox, because now I'm going to talk all night. I apologize, I interrupted you.
No, I just wanted to mention that with those few exceptions that you mentioned, we do start our budget. What will it take to sustain the programs that we currently have in place?
It's not beyond level service by a
and
whole
then
lot.
because we start early, like most of your departments do, we have to make some estimates, and make very cautious estimates at that point in time. You know, earlier on, we were hearing our insurance could have been 8–10%, so we're building that into our budget, because we can't add that back afterwards.
Yes.
So with the few exceptions that Paul just mentioned, we don't start with the pie in the sky. We do start with what will it take to sustain what we currently have. And there are some estimates that we are able to fine tune. If you look at what we've been able to cut, some of those things are insurance and things like that. And then with retirees, we don't always have that information as we're that first round of the budget. So you will try to build an incentive so that we can get at that information. So we try, as most of your departments do, we do the best with what we have at the moment. And we try to make it work from there. And in my mind, the textbooks are a luxury, so that makes sense that the principals are looking at the textbook, because they would like to have on a rotation, bring new textbooks. Our obligation is to, create the next citizens, that group of citizens that will be able to take care of our country. And and so I really think that we
ambulances for them as well.
Right, I understand that.
With staff that are seasoned to be able to really give a good service.
So I'm just gonna.
Yeah. I feel your pain, Gordon.
You wanted to say something, Bill?
Yeah, so I tend to agree with Gordon's statement earlier. I got a sense like the principals came back with a budget they could support, and then the school committee essentially overruled them. And for me, when I was sitting there, I didn't get a sense that there was a lot of dialogue on why they thought they should increase the number, and I just felt as though the principals were essentially coming forward and stating that they think they can do their job effectively with the budget that they proposed, the revised budget.
I'm sorry, which version revised?
Version.
You mean the version 3, the last one that we voted?
Bill attended both meetings where the school committee looked at the suggestions from the administration of the principals. So there were other changes to the budget that were recommended by the administration that the school committee didn't take. And I think that's what he's referring to.
Okay, yeah.
So that, I just wanted to make that comment. I think you've kind of already explained it, but I want to just, get my position on the record out there. But I do have some other questions about this document. Mel mentioned something about a 3% target. Is that?
So that target came from the 3 finance committees saying that we recommend a 3% total town assessment increase year to year. That's the number that the finance committees have said to the school committee over the last number of years, that the total town assessment shouldn't increase more than 3%, and the differences in the percentage
Is going to vary.
is going to vary on how it affects each town. But our recommendation was that this 5.2% is only 3%.
Right. So where did 3% come from?
That's what the town's recommended for going forward based off of Prop 2.5 and new growth.
Okay.
Right, but the problem is, as Gordon and Charlie said very eloquently, is we can't control the Chapter 70 fund and some of the other numbers. We can control the school budget, but I can't control, the other issues, the number of students you have, your percentage changes, it goes up and down. Like Fort Plimpton had almost a 1% increase in the number of their students, which might not seem like a lot for Plimpton. I mean, it was huge. So there's always some ups and downs that, again, I can't control. Some towns get lucky and so much. So, there's those outside factors which make that 3%, excuse me, a number that I can't necessarily reach. If that makes any sense.
It makes sense. I mean, for me, if you could support the school with 1%, that really should be the goal. Or 2%, or whatever that number happens to be.
Sure.
Okay. In my opinion. And, the 2 remedial reading teachers, just so my understanding, those are not being replaced?
That is correct.
So is that gap no longer there, or is that service being offered some other way?
Well, what has happened is on our elementary level, we now have some assessments which provide immediate information to our remedial reading teachers. It's called a STAR assessment, and we can do progress monitoring. So by the time our students are getting to the middle school, we believe we've had better interventions that are coming into the middle school with better reading skills. So we feel that, at the time we had those positions at the middle school, we weren't able to meet their needs as well. We believe now we can. We also still will have Title I reading, which will still be working with our students. And we're going to focus our Title I on the reading.
Okay. The half paid by grant for the Allied Health?
Yep.
Is that permanently or just for this coming year?
There's a grant, it's called the Perkins Grant. We went down to Plymouth and we looked at their Allied Health program that they have. They've been using it to fund a position there for 7 years. So our hope is that we'll be able to maintain the half cost of position for hopefully 6 to 7 years. And then at that point, I'm sure, and hopefully within a couple of years, we'll be approved as a Chapter 74 program. We'll get the additional increase on the cost of the students. We get more money for our students who are in Chapter 74 than our other students, our regular education students. The state reimburses us more because those programs tend to cost more to run, so that it should be an offset at that point.
Okay.
Can I ask you, what is the cost for the BRIGHT program, the counselor?
It's about $55,000.
That's for the half cost?
No, BRIGHT is a full-time position.
The Bridge for Resilience.
Oh, okay. And I heard earlier tonight, I don't remember who said it, but the BRIGHT program, there's actually cost savings associated with that? Was that?
I thought. It should be. Tim's absolutely right. Anytime we can keep our students in district, it's not increasing your elementary budget for your out-of-district students. If we send a student out, it will cost way more than us being able to keep them in our school programs.
I would suspect that this is going to be a very popular program at the high school.
Okay, so it's not really a cost reduction, it's a cost avoidance.
Yes.
That's an interesting way of saying it, sure. That's fair. Avoidance.
Is that something that you'll track and look at over a couple of years and decide whether it is working or not?
We will. We know that we had about 4 to 6 students over the last couple of years that we believe we could have kept in district if we had had this. And that's part of why we developed it.
But yeah, I think it'd be great if we could track it.
Yeah. We will to the best. It's a little hard to judge, you know, could they have, you know what I mean, some of that is a little bit difficult, but, you know, we have students that we believe if we had been able to provide them some additional supports could have stayed in.
Then the final question that I had
Sure.
was for the Bright program, and I think this question was actually asked at the school committee meeting, was how many students will that serve? Either number of students or percentage I'd be happy with.
It's difficult for me to say. Michaela Gill, our high school principal, might be able to give you a better number, but I can tell you that any student who has had a concussion, you know, would be eligible to be in that program, may need some additional supports. We have children who have anxiety. Unfortunately, that's becoming more and more common. You know, they may need to transition through. We have students who may be going out on a hospitalization for any number of mental health issues. It could be cutting. Unfortunately, that's not an uncommon thing. So these will be children that we should be able to keep within our building with additional supports, that they can still access our curriculum, stay in the buildings, but have a safe, smaller locale that they can go to maintain the building.
So I think it really would be helpful if by next budget season, if you could have like a tangible number of how much, how many students it served and how much of a savings it was. I think that
Well,
would
I'm
be
sure the
really
school
helpful.
committee itself would have an interest in that because we talked quite a bit about this program when we were doing the budget, trying to understand it, and I think the committee itself would be asking for that.
Yeah.
So-
I think that's great.
I think this question's been asked twice already. I've been there, I asked it, and then someone else asked it, I don't remember who. And we still don't know how many students that's gonna serve. So how did we come up with one head?
How many can it serve?
How many can it serve? We're going to have an adjustment counselor, and we're going to use an aide to also provide some support if necessary to go into a classroom, you know, with the student if they need some additional support as they're going into a full-size classroom. I don't know that there's a limited number. It probably depends a little bit on the types of children that are in the program. It is very difficult to predict. I mean, if any of you have children, I would tend to think you probably remember that on any given day, you don't know, you know, what's going to happen to your child or what may go on. You know, if we have, you know, 10 students who have concussions that need to access it, then those 10 students would be eligible. If we have students who, you know, again, anxiety is a very common issue, how many children are coming in and out. I can't necessarily predict which children may provide. I can tell you, over the last year to two, we've had 4 to 6 students, which I have been told physically are out of district that you, I don't know if they're necessarily you, Halifax, but one of the 3 towns are paying out of district placements for. You know, again, but yeah, any of the 3 towns are. Again, you go back to but you know, and again, the other students that maybe were able to maintain would have maintained better. They would have been more successful. You know, maybe they wouldn't have needed to go in and out of hospitalizations. It is difficult to put exact figures on mental health.
But like students with concussions, they can't be in class half the time. They have to be at home anyway, so how much?
It depends on the level. We have concussion protocol, so students can get into the building to be able to access the materials, get the support to do the academics.
So it'll be a room? Is it going to be a room?
It's a room.
So I think that we should probably table the discussion on the Bright, seeing that that's more of a school committee's.
Thank you. Thank you.
But as taxpayers, we have every right to ask those questions. though.
That's fine. I just think whereas this position, we don't have a say over what they provide. We just vote a number.
Right.
Christine, you wanted to say one more thing?
The only thing I had wanted to add is what Joe was just mentioning, is that there's a school committee member who works in another school district. And she had said that when they started the Bright program, there were students that were kind of on their radar that thought maybe making use of those services. And she said, ironically, it wasn't those students, it was students that they weren't even aware that would be in need of these services. So they were delighted that they were able to provide these services for these students and maintain them within their schools and provide the services to acclimate back to school.
Yeah, I'm not questioning the need for the service, I'm just questioning if we have the right number.
Yeah, and I
Is it a
understand what
half
you're
or is it
saying about
three heads?
the line item autonomy board, but that, we represent the taxpayers, so we have every right to ask those questions, I think.
Can I just ask one?
Yeah.
So of the, that classroom that they're looking to build, Allied Health, is the equipment for that included in this equipment down here for 15,000? To set up that classroom?
That's already been started, correct?
It's actually part of the grant, the Perkins grant.
So all the equipment is in the grant,
Yes,
along with half the site for the
that's correct.
fee? Okay.
And the other thing, the other piece, just so you know, was one of the things when we went down to Plymouth was we tend to work with one of your local nursing homes or a place where the students will go and do their internships. Wingate is where would be logical for us. It's sort of almost across the street. One of the things that they were saying was almost all the equipment they have in Plymouth came from nursing homes. They were so excited when they buy new equipment, because the other equipment isn't that old. They donated some of the hospital beds. They donated the rolling trays because they were thrilled that it would provide a pipeline for them to get the
Employees.
employees that they needed.
I just had one quick question. So I see that with the Bright program, there's also an addition of a part-time adjustment counselor.
That's actually not, that's middle school.
Oh, so it'd be one,
The 1.5 is the middle school, the Bright program is the high school.
There is an additional adjustment counselor.
yeah, because we're losing one, but we're getting 1.5
Yeah,
back.
and the 0.5 additional is at the middle school because of some additional revolving fund programs we're bringing in, so helping to provide some additional supports for some of those students. Sorry.
Okay. Do we want to talk about the elementary school now?
Oh,
Are you gonna throw us a party and bring us a cake?
are we voting this one first, or are you doing them all simultaneously?
Promote it, that's fine.
Okay. Somebody make a motion.
Make a motion to approve line number 75, Silver Lake assessment for $4,456,412.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I said at the meeting I was going to vote no, so I just want to put that on record that at the meeting I said I was not going to support the budget, so I'm going to vote no tonight. So, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
No? Okay, Melinda's not here.
We're no as well?
So it's 2-2, so we don't recommend, and we'll have to re-vote at the next meeting when Melinda's here.
When is that meeting?
Thursday?
No. Not gonna be Thursday.
Opening day Thursday.
It's gonna have to be next
A
Monday.
week from Monday.
Next Monday.
A week from
So there's
today.
no meeting on Thursday, so we can meet for it.
Erica can't meet Thursday.
On Monday the 12th.
A week from next Monday?
Is that?
So the
No, a week
16th?
from
No.
today. The
Week
12th of
from
May.
today. Okay.
Next, no.
I was going to print on the 6th.
Charlie? Charlie?
Sorry, okay.
Setting aside whatever day you folks are talking about, I'm going to press Friday.
Okay.
Give people a head up on
So
that.
I would ask for a motion to put an asterisk on this one and say that the Finance Committee voted 2-2, will be
Revoting.
revoting and updating at town meeting.
And there's no, and eventually, what Halifax locals, what it is, it's not even called that anymore. But we'll put it on the website, we'll publicize when you do make a decision, what that decision is. It may not be in the report, it'll be certainly available at town meeting, but people will have a heads up before town meeting.
Okay. Next is the no.
Do we want to vote the,
Are you kidding?
do we want to vote the debt exclusion?
Yeah, why don't we vote that? Is there a
I'll make a motion to approve line number 76, debt exclusion Silver Lake for $480,982.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, passes unanimous.
Special needs transportation. Can I just ask a question on the vocational? Has there been any change on that number?
I am not aware of a change.
So the 214,719 is a good number.
But that, Christine, that doesn't include the one student that has applied?
We recently heard of students that applied to socio-vocational, and was one from Halifax. And we don't know the outcome of that.
But so the 214 didn't include that student?
Correct.
That's correct. That happened the night before school.
So what is the number that it would be to include that student?
30.
Thirty would be a very safe number to add.
You guys-
30.
30?
Yeah, right.
244.
So 244,
It could be. It may apply.
244, 719?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion for that?
I move line number 72, vocational education, for the sum of $244,719.
Is there a second?
244, 214.
244 to include that
Okay,
student.
all right, yeah. I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, that passes. So that's 244. So that will include that student.
One thing on the Silver Lake budget, correct?
Yes.
The school committee is planning on using E&D money, which is not a vote that's brought so much to the town meetings as...
So we need to put that into the note as well.
Exactly. It's just an acknowledgement that we're using our E&D like we've done every year.
Can you put 2 stars on that line?
Thank you.
Line 75, the Silver Lake assessment.
Using E&D.
Yeah. A sum of 400. She sent us right here. A sum of 490,878
Yes.
from E&D.
Upside down, but yes.
Okay, so those 2 notes are on
Yes.
Silver Lake.
Thank you.
Voted the vocational. We already voted the transportation?
It was sort of included in the vote that you made, that was made to approve all lines that were funded less than the FY18.
Okay.
So that's why I put it in there,
So does it,
because it's a decrease.
Doesn't need to be revoted.
okay. Okay, so then the elementary school budget. So we have $5,422,693 as the voted number from the elementary school budget.
All of this is sharing comments? Ours is over here. Tell George. Is it with it? Oh, wait, I have it. I have it. Let me in here. It's right. 5,422,693?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we voted, yeah.
Okay. Alright. Is there any discussion on that from you?
I mean,
So you made a large reduction.
yeah, so a good portion of that, 104,000, I believe, came from special ed. So, Marie Grable and Joy sat down, and there's some movement of students, and that was why we were able to make that large reduction there. I believe the second largest reduction came from technology. You have this?
I don't think our board does, so if you want to just read some of it.
Okay. So yeah, technology hardware was another large area that we decreased, and it's down by $10,275, large part and due to the REAP grant that we weren't sure whether or not we were going to qualify for due to the size of our district, but we are getting it this year, so that's going to help. Most of the other cuts are anywhere from $500 to $1,500, not very large. There's a cut in textbooks of $7,000, just because we decreased some of the curriculum resources in science and reading. Mind you, anything that we've cut in that arena is not gonna take away from our students next year. Like, they will have all the resources they need to continue on the program that they're in. Some of our contracted services, we were able to reduce by 5,000 with all the new building projects that are going on over there, so that should help in the savings in that area. We took away 4,000 in the area of equipment in terms of like whiteboards and classroom furniture. Every year we ask for more, to replace more classroom furniture, and that's usually an area that we take away from. Staff retirement savings was a cost saving of 32,000. So in the end, we were, do you want me to talk about the okay. In the end, we were able to reduce our overall budget by $195,917.
So
Which
what?
we really appreciate.
So
From version 1.
So what was the reduction from
It was between the two words.
special needs transportation? Do you have that separated out?
Yes, so.
There was
Sorry,
this-
sorry, not transportation, tuition.
Yes.
Because I think you have, I think Sandy's spreadsheet reflects her new number.
So the change in student placements was the 104,000, and the increased circuit breaker to 60% was 26,552.
Right.
So that total is actually larger than just under more.
Yeah.
So what was the reduction at the elementary school?
I'm sorry?
The regular day.
The regular day budget, what was your?
Well, that's.
We reduced the total by 194,917. Subtract out the special education piece, the tuition piece. And that's.
All right, you want to just, here, I'll-
Yeah, so it's
Hold
actually
on.
195. 'cause we
One-
added that.
195 plus 104.
195,
917
917,
Yeah,
minus the 104.
minus 104,
And then minus 26,552.
minus 26,552.
But the
65,000.
365.
So out of those changes, those are all in,
regular day
Regular
program.
day.
regular day
That's
expense lines.
Yeah.
How much,
And luckily, no service has been cut, so the
Right.
the school.
We're not losing any paraprofessionals,
Right.
not losing any teachers. We had some retirements that were
Right.
beneficial to us because we can obviously hire.
so out of the $65,000 in expense line reduction, how much is going to need to be there next year? So the finance committee's aware.
The textbooks that we're gonna talk about, okay, so this year, we entertained the idea of putting in half of the upcoming math curriculum that we're gonna have to implement,
Okay.
which I believe should be anywhere from 60 to 70,000. So we wanted to put half of it into our budget this year, but because the town is in such a pinch, we decided that it might be best to take it all out and move forward with that next year.
So next year,
However, hold on, let me finish. My concern was that we were gonna get nailed with a $70,000 ticket next year, and that might not be something that was feasible. So I had a conversation with Joy, and it's come to our understanding that that's not necessarily the case. We can move forward with a fraction of that next year and use some of the materials that we already have, or maybe buy half the textbooks we need instead of all of them next year. So I'm not saying that we're gonna come to you next year with a $70,000 textbook line.
but you're gonna come with a portion, so I would just
Yes.
note that
Yes.
textbooks,
We do need to
We
increase
may
that
come
line.
with that initially, but when you say to us that's not possible, then we'll go back and figure out what it is that we could get by and still
Okay.
Yes.
provide the curriculum kids need.
I just want that noted for the finance committee for next year to know that they are.
Unless you're gonna
Expenses.
sit here and tell us right now that we can build it back into our budget this year for FY18. That's.
Nobody's talking.
Well, I mean, it's a conversation that we had because there was some concern that we were gonna get nailed next year. And so to ease a little bit of that pain, it could go back in considering the large amount that we cut this year. But, I mean, that's me. Up to you guys.
So it's 70,000
No,
estimated?
they're an estimate, 60 to 70.
in total, but this year when we presented draft one of our budget this year, we had built in $35,000.
No,
We
it was
didn't build
never
it
in our
in.
budget.
We never built it in.
Oh, we never built it in, but we talked about putting half of it in this year, so putting in 35 this
Yeah.
year to ease some of the pain next year.
And that's
But then after we had the whole conversation about taking things out, we decided not to go forward.
So for the special town meeting, we have Halifax Elementary wireless security at $1,360. We have the Halifax Elementary School fiber optic network at $18,000. And we have network switches and associated something.
That's for town hall.
That one's for town hall? Were there any other items that, from the elementary school for capital that need to be done in this fiscal year?
Other than, the fire suppression system that you're well aware of.
I mean,
Okay,
it's my understanding that, just based on that small meeting that we had with Steve, that, that fiber optic situation was better to be done when they were taking the ceilings
Yeah.
down for the, so that's why it's being, but as far as I know, I think our committee had a conversation that we weren't gonna go ahead with, there's so much being done at that building.
but there's no other items that need to be done while that roof's, inside's being worked on, exposed? Okay. Just wanted to narrow it down to the special, because that's what's, this fiscal year is the special. And for the annual, we don't have that $15,000.
No, because
School.
they're using the REAP grant for that.
Okay.
Yeah, and we kind of ran out of capital money.
So the REAP grant is only given to towns that have a small population, so the magic number is about 600 students in the building.
Okay.
And we are at 603 right now, so we qualified for the REAP grant for next year, but that may not be the case moving forward, just so you're aware
So
of
that might have to come, the technology portion of the budget, so I would just know.
It may, but we're very close to equipping, we're very close to the magic number of Chromebook cards that we want, so it might not, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else to note about either the elementary school or the, just one question I have about the special needs tuition. Is there any buffer at all in that? Or if we have somebody move in, are we,
There's a bit of a buffer.
okay.
Yes, we'll have some shop breaker left. We anticipate.
Okay. And just to make everyone aware, it's $44,000 that the town has to spend before the state kicks in anything for that circuit breaker. And this year is 65%?
65% this year.
So the town has to pay up to $44,000 and then the state will reimburse you above that at 65%. But the town's gonna come up with the rest of the money. So if you have a $100,000 placement, it's gonna cost the town $70,000 for that one student. So.
What's the circuit breaker?
So that's the reimbursement that takes place after that one student's tuition is charged above $44,000. That doesn't include transportation.
That's correct.
It's just tuition. So if you have a case like the previous fiscal year, we have 4 students move in or 5 students move in, we saw our special needs costs go up $150,000 in the fiscal year, and that's when we had to move all the money around last year at the town meeting. So we probably have enough to cover one student maybe with buffer.
It depends on how things work out. We have a couple of changes and
Okay.
movements of students, but we should have some circuit breaker left, so
Okay.
we're hopeful it's going to be a good year.
Okay. So
I'd like to motion line 71, elementary school costs, for the total of $5,422,693.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
I'd just like to thank the school committee who did hear our plea and worked very diligently to make the cuts that we asked.
Can I make a comment about that? You don't want to wait till after you vote?
It depends on your comment.
Make your comment.
So, no, I can tease you. Okay. Oh yeah, same way, yeah, okay. I guess I want to drive home the point that because our department did due diligence and combing through our budget and hearing the plea of the town, and obviously being a taxpayer myself, I don't want to see my tax bill go through the roof. I want to reiterate the point that I made when we had the meeting in the Great Hall, that I really don't want the cutting and the combing through the budget to lie solely on the back of the schools. And I just want to ensure that every department in town, including the town hall, is being cognizant of that and doing a good job of looking at their own departments and their own staffing. Because we did a really, you know, that was a lot for us, and some of it was manageable with the special ed movement that we don't really have any control over, but you know, we have a wish list too, just like every other department does. And I just think I don't want it to be like, oh yay, the elementary school cut me $100,000, goody goody, you know, and so I just want to be.
Yeah, we certainly not singing from the top of the rooftops that all our problems are solved. We're gonna use the same fine-tooth comb to go through every department, but I just wanted to point out that the elementary school did go above and beyond the call of duty on this one, so.
Any other comments before we vote?
I'll shut up before you change the numbers.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Next one.
I'd like to move line 73, special needs tuition, for the sum of $1,820,301.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. And thank you very much for going through that line as well, because that was a $200,000 increase that we're looking at, and now it's only $61,000. So we really appreciate the hard work that took place in that line.
And again, we did the same with Silver Lake. I know it didn't hit the number you were looking for, but it wasn't that we didn't do due diligence with Silver Lake also.
But I think the administration and the principals did as much as they could, and I think what they presented to the committee was valid. And I thank Paula for going to both meetings and saying what you did at the meeting. It's not,
It's different when it's not a single entity, Halifax and Halifax. You gotta take that.
okay. So we did, on which?
Wage and personnel.
So we did not vote on wage and personnel. We held off on the discussion to go to schools while
Knowing that people.
schools were here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you're meeting, I apologize, you're meeting again next Monday night, right?
Monday night, yeah.
Okay.
Do you want us to put a special time on that for you, so you can plan a time? Would that help you?
Not necessarily, I'll just come.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a school committee meeting.
Okay.
Surprise.
And it's a surprise?
It's a surprise for you, right? I have a school committee meeting. It's in Kingston this time. I won't be able to make it.
Only one?
Thanks. Actually, I think I have negotiations beforehand, but
So,
that's mine, I'm sorry. So I won't be able to make it.
Okay.
Paula will be here.
so we will make sure that you're copied as long as we're gonna have a quorum. In case there's an issue there isn't, we'll make
Yeah.
sure that you are copied
Please,
so you know.
thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so it is 8:50, and we have done. We haven't done 4 yet.
We haven't done wage yet.
People get upset when they get their warrant and there's no recommendation.
Yeah, I don't see where we're gonna get all the
We're not gonna get to all
articles.
the capital items, no way.
Yeah, so I'm going back and forth.
I mean, we can. I think if we get this done and wage done tonight in Article 3, we're gonna be here till 11, so.
What are you talking about next?
Are we going back to wage?
I say we go back to wage, that way we can finish up Article 4, you know?
Let's do it.
So we have the 2% wage increase across the board. We were told that is
98.5.
Yeah, probably approximately 98,000.
and that is in this, Sandy, or it's
No.
not?
It's not in.
Put it in because it wasn't voted on.
Okay.
It will end up being less than the 98,000.
How's that?
How's that? Because when I ran the numbers and the building municipal school committee, their wage line can actually go down a little because they hired a new person at step 1 and we had allowed for more because they had anticipated hiring someone at a higher step. So that made a difference. So there's a few refinements, and when I do the number for an estimate, I always just take the wage lines and increase them by 2%, but we don't give 2% on the longevity. So I have to go through each budget, each employee, and figure out what the
Okay.
2% increase is and how it affects the budget.
But 98's the top.
98's the top that it would be.
Okay. So, right now, we're looking at $201,156 and $9. No. Yeah,
Should be at the 224, 142.
Okay, so what you guys did last week was level funded those, and the savings was 22,986 from what was requested?
Correct.
Okay. And then you're at 220, alright, so 98, so then you're at 120, so put the 98,500 back in, and then you're at the 125, 692,
642.
64209.
Right, and that's above and beyond the 300,000 you're leaving on the table.
Okay.
So it leaves over 400,000 on the table.
So, what we have tonight is you have a decision about the 2%, a decision about the reclassification. We made a decision previous to remove those other requested positions, correct? That
You mean
was
highway and cemetery.
highway and
Correct.
cemetery. That's already in this.
They're not included.
They're removed.
They've been
I've already
removed,
taken them
yep.
Okay. Are there any other requests that we removed that we can recall? None? Okay, so the only other thing that we had listed on the agenda that I want to bring up is that we have Council on Aging need to schedule a date to talk about funds to move.
Right. You know that they're going to, when they start the construction over the Council on Aging, they're going to have to clean out that building, put a lot of their equipment in storage, move some of these stuff up, most likely to the Great Hall, set up like the Great Hall for the Council on Aging to function out of. They're also talking about using a space, they're going to approach the church, I believe, for the Meals on Wheels program.
Okay.
Whether there'll be any kind of a fee for that, we're not sure. So they're going to need money to accomplish all of that. We do not,
I don't think it's within their $2 million budget. I think when they calculated the numbers originally, they were simply looking at construction costs and architect.
So we didn't put that in that
They
data?
didn't put any money for relocation, transition, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
we do not have anything in the Council on Aging budget now to cover it. We also do not have an article on the town meeting warrant to cover it. The thought would be that this would be something that we could handle if and when we have the fall town meeting, that we would need to look at money for at that time. So that's why Council on Aging isn't in tonight. They just wanted to make an appointment with you to make you aware of it.
Could we put it in the expense line for them if?
We have no idea what it's going to cost.
But the short answer is yes, you could. I mean, we could put under count, if everybody came to a number between now and the 14th.
We could.
Yes, you could.
Okay. Is the Council on Aging Director working on getting that number at this point in time?
Yeah, I think she's dealing with simply a lot of uncertainties. Number one is how long a period it's going to be. Because they don't, as far as I know, they don't know when they're going out to bid, when construction's work is going to start, how long exactly they think it's going to take, when they have to get out, in the sense of they keep discussing whether or not, I'm going to just dates up, but you know, can they start construction on a certain date but not have everybody move out during the first month? For instance, if they work on the expansion side,
Yeah.
they don't have to work in the old or part of the building. So so not just the day of construction, but when they actually would have to move in and when they could move back in, move out and move back in. If the church is going to charge them, what the church is going to charge, as another example. I mean, what I've said to everybody is, in terms of the space allocation, to please be as flexible as possible. They'll probably have to do the semi-permanent up in the Great Hall. That's the only place available for that. But for instance, the room we're in, if they need to have temporary classes, so if they have to pick the cribbage group as an example,
Yeah.
they did that in the daytime or in an evening when no one's here. They're in, they're out, done. They're not storing stuff here. Same thing with the community room over at the library. I've even mentioned the community room over at the police station. I'm just asking people to be as flexible as possible about using other spaces for COA activities. But the permanent is going to be up there. Our kitchen's now large enough to run the Meals on Wheels program. The kitchen is upstairs on the second floor. And so probably the best bet, in fact, is next door.
Okay. And we don't know how long.
I do not know. I can't even play my, make up something.
Okay.
But I mean, maybe during the next 6 weeks.
We come up with a number. Okay, so let's put that on there too. We're not thinking 100,000 though. We're thinking less than 100.
I would certainly hope not. Because I mean, the biggest cost in my mind would simply be moving stuff the 2 times. And my whole, I don't know what Scott's capacity is. I mean,
He has 2 full-time employees and 1 part-time.
Are we hiring?
We don't have any staff additions for.
Well, in addition to himself.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So, are they sufficient to move the stuff themselves, or do they have to get an outside force to do that back and forth? But I think the other stuff, we can, internet is available through Wi-Fi as an example. I mean, the biggest cost in my mind is going to be the move.
Okay.
We're not necessarily buying new supplies, though I know Barbara mentioned she wanted some sort of, even if it's not to the ceiling type food device, but some sort of
petition.
Yeah, so that people have at least psychological privacy,
Okay.
if nothing else.
I thought at those meetings, the generations people said they were gonna supply all the supplies that needed, like the desks, the chairs, and those kinds of things.
Those are, I believe, for the addition itself,
50K.
not for moving stuff from
Oh,
out of
okay.
the building.
All right, thought you meant, okay.
I could see it.
50K.
50K? Really?
It might be a lot longer. Construction takes 3 times as long. I mean, it's already been a year that they were approved for and nothing's happening, you know what I mean?
The
Everything
additional
is-
costs on a per week basis are gonna be minor.
You're gonna have two major costs.
Yeah.
It's gonna be your labor cost to load everything up and your labor cost to unpack everything.
And storage, if you need storage facilities to rent.
Yeah, I mean, I would say pods would be the way to go and just park it right down in the back. But that's their call.
My guess is 50K. Okay.
I hope you're as close with that as you were with the
Hey,
the roof.
you were way better on the roof than I was, because well, I was like 2 times less than what the actual cost was.
So that money can't come out of the capital money that we have.
So typically, unless you put it into an article and you either raise and appropriate that money or use it from free cash. So with the current plan that we have in place from capital plan, we have 30,000 left from all the lines that we're drawing money from. So could it come from free cash? Yes, a portion could, or if we have an actual number and we know that that's a real item that has to take place, you either raise and appropriate that number or you spend it on free cash and change the plan.
Yeah, and the only problem, I mean, if we had to use it, we would, but the only problem is that there were a number of items that we couldn't fund this year in the capital plan that then get moved to next year. And we also have, is next year? Yeah. So that's a big ticket item, and because we're cutting expense line items on both the town and the school, we're gonna have less free cash to play with for those capital items for the next year. So, if we didn't have this move, we'd be like, thank God we have that 30, we can put it aside for all those other things that we didn't get done this year. But, I mean, if that's the only funding, that's the only funding.
Okay, so those are the things that we have still outstanding. Let's make some votes.
Okay.
Wage and personnel, recommendation to grant all non-union wage and personnel employees across the board increase of 2%. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is
the
there a
2% across.
second?
I will second the motion.
Discussion.
Can you award it?
That's obviously the big question. We leave a total of $425,000 under the levy if we do vote the 2%. Knowing that school has gotten 2%, I think is a very difficult argument to say to everybody else in town, the teachers are worth more than you, the police are worth more than you. And although our financial situation is very tight as a town, the private sector is seeing good growth. We have in the past given zeros. I think based on current market conditions, in order to be competitive in the marketplace, we're almost forced to be at the 2% this year. It's
You know, with the
completely
insurance going up too.
completely opposite of where I've been in the past, but the economy as a whole is different, and I think we have to take that into account as well as the position of the town.
We'd still be able to have the $300,000.
We'd still be able to have.
It'd be 425 at this point.
400,000. Okay, so we still have 425 with funding it.
Left on the table.
Yes.
Spent under the levy.
Much better.
The goal's been 300,000 has been the goal.
Yeah, but I mean, one of the last conversations I was really involved in, we were talking about going over.
Yeah, but you really helped us.
We were
Well,
spending,
you cut 195,000.
And
Right,
they cut on
yeah.
that side too, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. I think, I mean, if you want my 2 cents, I agree with everything Mel just said. I don't think it's fair. And I, you know, dealt with them across the street, but I don't think it's fair to tell the town Brazil when the other unions in town are getting raised.
And so the lake is too.
Does anybody else have any comments? Okay, motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
aye.
I'm a no.
Shocker.
Cindy?
Will you take this moment to move your own Article 3, which also gives a 2% increase to the elected officials?
Aside from the moderator and selectmen.
Right.
Assessors.
So moved.
Does that mean I get to make 2 cents?
No, you don't get paid. Is there a second?
I'll second.
What are you moving?
Article 3, so to increase the highway surveyor,
Yep.
cemetery, no, not cemetery on that one, just highway surveyor, collector, treasurer, clerk,
Yeah,
and that's the 3.
that's it.
It's been moved, it's been seconded, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, I'm a no again.
You have to be, for consistency.
All
Do we
right.
want to move all these in here?
These in here.
All salary items on Article.
So, well, these aren't gonna be the right numbers.
Right, but if we can make a general,
Motion to update Article
Update.
4.
to update the spreadsheet with the, as voted,
2% wage increase.
to approve those numbers.
Well, like, we need to finish wage.
Say, can we finish
Okay.
wage first?
Yeah, sorry, Kendra.
Okay,
I'm gonna lose my money.
so you have recommendation 2 to reclassify. Do you want to take these as a group, all the reclassifications, or you want to break them out separately?
I'd like to break them out separately.
Okay. That's the only response, so that's what we're gonna do. 2, to recommend reclassify position of health inspector from a grade 10 to a grade 11. Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I will make the motion, well, I will second the motion.
Okay. All those in favor, aye.
Discussion.
Yeah, why?
Oh yeah, discussion, yeah.
So what's the actual increase from 10 to 11?
It's approximately 3,000, a little over 3,000
Yeah,
for
it was
that
like
one.
3,500.
Somewhere.
Why?
So you kind of missed the earlier discussion.
Well, you don't have to go back into it.
I'll go through it. So the discussion was that these positions were asked to be reclassified, not this January, but the previous January, and these positions are what kicked off the whole reclassification systematic review. So these positions would be being treated than all the other reclassification work that's being done
Across the town?
across the town. Yes.
Okay,
Non-union.
okay.
Do you recall last year we voted to
Vaguely.
spend some money? These were the positions that kind of triggered that desire to look at the whole town,
Okay.
these particular positions.
And this will make us more comparable to the towns that we compare ourselves to?
Yeah, the 10 benchmark towns,
Correct.
correct, yeah.
Okay. That's a good enough explanation.
Bill, did you have a?
That was the only question I had.
Okay. My thoughts are the same as Mel's. So, I think if we paid for that study, we ought to use that study.
We figured it was less on a burden for the town next fiscal year. We already have 4, under our belt that we're gonna approve, well, if they're approved for this fiscal year, the less we have to do for the next fiscal year.
Originally, we wanted to bring all the classifications forth at once. we didn't know how we would even explain that. That was the first issue. And then the second issue is, we came to that meeting in January where the sky was falling, there was absolutely no money, so we knew that we couldn't do that anyhow. So that's why we also, broke it down a little.
Okay.
Yeah, and plus now it's 2 fiscal years behind the figures, so we figured it was fair to go forth for the next fiscal year with the correct figures.
Okay.
And hopefully it'll be a less burden on the town, on the taxpayers.
Well, the burden's not going to change. You're just
No.
swallowing multiple
Yeah, part of it,
pills.
yeah, in sections.
Okay, so it's been motioned, it's been seconded. All those in favor are aye.
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 Opposed? No.
No.
2-2. Get to revote.
Wait, I thought you just said you
I-
supported it because.
I didn't support it. I seconded the motion to
No.
discuss it.
Gordon
I
did.
supported what Mel said earlier before you were here.
We talked about it.
I had talked about earlier how I wasn't comfortable voting just these three positions when we as a town decided to take a look at the whole.
Oh, you want to do all of them?
If we're going to do it, we're going to do it all at once.
Okay.
We're not going to
You
create.
lost me there.
Those
So that,
people came to a special meeting last week and requested that they be reclassified.
Oh.
So they kind of put themselves
oh.
on the front.
A year and a half, or a year and 3 months ago.
So are you going to go ahead and make a separate motion that you reclassify everyone this fiscal year? Next fiscal year?
Not at
No.
this time. We're not
Okay.
prepared.
All right, I'm just asking.
But the wage and personnel could bring that forward at the meeting because that came up at their January meeting, so,
Okay, okay.
or employees could do the same. Number 3, to reclassify the position of the building inspector from a grade 10 to a grade 11. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the position of building inspector from a grade 10 to a grade 11.
Is there a second?
I will second the motion.
Discussion, or do we just want to vote?
What's the repeat as?
So the 1,400
It's
was the
approximately 1,300.
1,300.
And if you just give me the number for 4, we can probably just do both of these at once.
I don't have that number. So-
I thought that one was somewhere around 7,000, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. With all 4 positions being reclassified, it was under 10,000.
So it's got to be close to 5 then.
Sandy, do you recall what that was?
I don't recall the number. I wish I had done it.
I know. I was going to email you too and I forgot.
Thought we were going to have Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Well, if we look at it, do you have the rates in front of you?
No.
Okay.
I need stuff.
I know, I don't have the wage stuff either.
So 3,000, 1,300 for 3. The other 2
It's
make
gotta
up
be-
6,600.
I want to say number 3 was more like $1,500.
So 4,500, 5,500 left.
Yeah,
You
it wasn't a
gotta
lot.
figure it's gotta be,
$4 grand.
And I want to say
Yeah.
number 5 was around 1,000.
So it's got to be $4,000 then.
5 was, it was approximately like $1.10 an hour, and she works 24 hours a week.
24 times
Yeah.
50, 1,200 bucks.
Okay.
And that would be for number 5, for the recycling coordinator. And we actually want to rename that position.
Okay. All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, no.
No.
2-2.
Gordon, just, protest, can you set a specific time for
Wage and personnel.
next Monday then? Because I am hoping you'll have all 5 people there. And
Okay.
I'd like to be able to tell the various departments and boards and committees when to come in.
Okay. 7:45, so we get the school taken care of first, so we know money-wise what we're looking at.
And we'll have all the figures.
We'll have the numbers.
Yeah.
So as far as the warrant goes, is that gonna, on the warrant for these things, is that just gonna say?
It'll say finance committee,
Either it's gonna say 2-2 or it's gonna say not recommended. I mean, you did not recommend, you didn't vote not to recommend, you voted against recommending, which is, I know it's a.
So I would put in the notes, Finance Committee did not come to a majority decision, 2-2 vote, as our note for the, didn't come to a, so, do we vote? So, next one is 4, recommend to reclassify the position of water superintendent from a grade 11 to grade 12A. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No.
Abstain. I'd like to know what the number is.
2.
Can I ask how long these people have been in these positions? Just wondering.
Actually, the health inspector, 20 years. The building inspector is fairly new
This is
past year.
Third year.
Fourth week, I think.
Yeah.
That folder, that number.
Water superintendent's been here. She's
Right, because-
over 20 years. Not in that position though, Mary.
Yeah, so
He was a laborer.
The opposite is third year. Yeah, the other, recycling's been there for approximately 20 years. Health's been there for approximately 20 years.
Yes.
What's the other, the other ones?
So the
That was all of them,
building inspector
Charlie.
still has steps to go, like he's not at the top of his.
He is right now, but if he moves to the next grade, he'll have steps to go.
Everybody right now is either at their top step right now or will move to the top step next year.
Yeah,
I'm
the
just
only,
like, just realistically, like if he's only been here a couple of years, to say he can move up to the same grade as someone who's been here for 20 years, doesn't
Well,
seem.
the grades
No.
aren't tied into how long someone's been in this position. The work and wage and personnel.
yeah,
The work and wage and
I'm
Diane can.
Yeah.
But the work and wage and personnel board did on this, it's not based on the number of years of service, it's based on the job itself.
Correct.
And it's being paid in other communities. We could in fact have, if we move these positions, this is true anytime we do a regrade, and that's been true in the time I've been here, is that when we have somebody new come in, we don't change the grade down, simply because that person hasn't served for that number of years as the previous person coming in. We leave the grade the same because the responsibilities are the same. In terms of what we're looking at are two different things. I mean, what the work that we did was from two angles. One is review the job description, responsibilities, duties, experience that's necessary. And the second is looking at the competitive wage structure versus the other 9 towns, the other 10 towns would. So that, and sorry to be morbid about this, but let's say we voted on May 14th to move a grade, change a grade for a position, any position. The person drops dead the next day.
Charlie.
Well, no, but
No,
I mean.
but to replace that person.
But you're not going to change the grade simply because you have a new person coming in. The grade goes with the position, not the person.
But the steps go with,
The person,
steps
right.
go with the person, so
Right.
with the experience and the level.
Yes, and that's the idea of the step, is the assumption being that we are paying more for more experience through the step system, but the grades are tied to the position itself, not the person holding it.
And Mary, each grade has 6 steps. So for the next 6 years of their employment, and then they max out at step 6.
But also, as an example for some of these positions, over the years, what has happened is that the grades have merged a little bit in that, for instance, if I'm on grade 10, step 6, that's equal to grade 11, step 3 in the actual wage, approximately. And we're not going to move someone down in terms of wages. So someone at grade 10, step 6, is going to move to a wage level that's not lower than what they're earning right now. So in this case, they're not going to move to step 1 or step 2, they move to step 3. Now, if someone starts the position new later on, with a couple asterisks, because wage and personnel has some judgment calls to make, but normally, someone new coming in to the position would start at step 1. They're not going to then start, if someone comes in new at that position, they won't start at step 3, they'll start at step 1. But in this case, the current incumbent, and we have it specifically in the wage and personnel bylaw, that if we reclassify the position, then the person does not earn less. They earn at least the same amount as they have been earning.
Okay, so we voted 4 as 2-1-1. So that's a vote not to recommend.
Right.
And I would just put the vote in there.
And this is for which position?
Sandy is getting.
Water
numbers, though.
superintendent.
Okay.
2,100.
For which?
The water superintendent. Okay, thanks, Sandy.
All right, do we want to revote that now that Bill has the number?
And for the water department, I know you voted, I know you weren't here Friday for the entire discussion. One of the things we ran into specifically on that position is that, I know this may not, the number of people applying for it, when we did have it open up, were very few. The person we now have, because he could have gone to another community and earned overtime there, we can't get overtime here, he would have earned more as a normal laborer working in that community than as a water superintendent here. It's not, and acting as water superintendent these days, it's not simply fixing pipes. There's a lot of federal and state regulations that have to be complied with and reported. I'm not justifying that one versus anything else, but my point about that is simply not to discount the job either. That it's not, because of the technical knowledge base that somebody needs, this is true for several of the others, it's not an easy thing to simply bring somebody in at the wage rate we're paying right now.
And then for the building inspector and the water superintendent, when we put it out to advertise, it was a hard sell because of the wages. Correct. To replace them. So we're looking at the positions too, and we're looking down the line. If we have to replace these employees for any reason, not dropping dead, but for any other reason, it's going to be hard to find a replacement at the current wages. So we looked at that too.
I think it would include if they dropped dead too.
Yeah. It would include.
Okay. Do you want to revote that one?
Now that you have the number?
Sure.
Okay.
You need to make the motion to reconsider.
All right. Make a motion to reconsider the vote on line number 4 of the wage and personnel recommendations.
I'll second the motion. All those in favor of reconsideration?
Aye.
Okay. Now, somebody needs the motion to recommend the motion.
I'll make a motion to recommend to reclassify the position of water superintendent from a grade 11 to a grade 12A.
Second the motion.
Okay. Those in favor? Aye.
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 Those against? No.
No.
So there it goes 2-2. A lot of work for nothing.
Well, it's just for the
3-1.
consistency.
All right, there we go.
Consistency in the vote.
So your note can be changed to 2-2. No majority decision. Okay, number 5. Recommend to rename and reclassify position administrative assistant recycling grade 6 to recycling coordinator grade 7. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to reclassify the position of administrative assistant recycling grade 6 to recycling coordinator grade 7.
Second the motion.
Okay, is there discussion on this one?
Sandy, do you have the number?
I was just wondering why did we have to, we changed the name, the title, but why did we have to change the grade?
We changed the grade because of the job description itself
And
and the responsibilities, correct.
that are going on right now. This is why, in fact, we had that long discussion with Steve Hayward on Friday.
Right, but this position wasn't brought forward by the department head.
No, it was brought forward by the
John.
reclassification.
Okay. It's been moved, seconded.
Sandy, do you have a dollar amount?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. It was under 100, 125, $1.25.
Oh, maybe I'm not gonna stay up.
Okay.
I have a question, I'm not sure we're gonna interject it, but I want to talk about it before we finish the wage and personnel situation. Should I ask you now while I'm doing that? or-
Yeah, sure.
So, there was some discussion when we had the meeting in the Great Hall about the position of the building inspector in town.
Okay.
And And I want to know if anything else has been further looked at in regards to him being, or that position being necessary full-time in town, considering the fact that we have slow growth and there's not a lot of rebuild going on. And
The Finance Committee has requested from Wage and Personnel a report of those specifics that Sue spoke to. Just based on scheduling, et cetera, we have not timed up a meeting with them at this point.
Okay.
But we have.
But it is, the wheels are in motion in that.
To at least, as a board, to take a look at.
Yeah. I just don't want it to go by the wayside.
Yeah.
And that was, part
Sounds good.
Yeah, our meeting following the group meeting, that was motioned and passed to request that from the Wage and Personnel Board.
That was on all positions.
Yeah, on all positions. It just happens to be, this is the
Yeah.
one that we're talking about, but not just that position, but all positions, that there is a discrepancy between us and our neighboring communities.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that the need is
1,350.
really neat.
1,350, okay, thanks, Sandy.
Sandy, while
And
you're at
that's
it,
based on the 24 hours, Sandy?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
while you're at it, do you have the numbers for the other two for next week? When we look at those?
Do you think when that discussion is going to happen, you could let me know how you'd be part of the information?
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't know when she'll have all that information.
Yeah, I don't know that that's going to happen.
Email me or text me or whatever,
Yeah.
call me, I mean, something.
It's probably not going to happen before town meeting this year,
Yeah.
but it is definitely something that, as a board, we're
Why
looking
wouldn't
at.
it happen before town meeting?
Because it's part of the whole reclassification plan, we were gonna look at other departments and the hours. That was part of our plan.
Can somebody request that specific position be looked at before town meeting? Because
Well, basically, we already did that, yeah.
So
We
there's
had
5
that.
positions that Sue went out and researched, and that was one of them. So
Okay.
Sue has that information.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Jean, you have it.
Jean has a copy
Yeah.
of it. It's her copy though.
Can I get a copy of this?
You can
Sorry
share.
about, in fact, if that's the same big sheet.
Yeah, it's a big sheet.
I don't have mine here.
So these are the
Literally.
Yeah. And so building inspectors.
Okay.
Thank you both for coming and participating.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm not available for the month unless we can meet.
We pretty much have everything. It's okay. Sue's gonna send us the final draft, okay? Thanks, Erica.
Will it be in,
So, but we don't know
So
any sort of. growth
1350
numbers.
on the recycling coordinator bill. It's based on 24 hours.
But,
Yes.
If there's anything you should ask. I don't think she gave out.
But I also had it for Rob, so I don't know
Whether
if
she
you
asked
Kathy.
different.
Oh, for Kathy, yeah, okay.
All right,
Per
so I
year
had
or anything like
3250,
that, I don't know.
3250,
okay.
2100,
But that's public record, something like to find out.
2100 and 3250.
13,
Well, if she has the information.
1350.
1350.
for a total of $9,950 for all.
Okay.
For all those
Great.
Like,
Thank you.
I guess my question is, like, clearly if, Berkeley has skyrocketed growth, they're gonna need.
And that was 2100.
Well, I guess Berkeley's a
And that's
That's only
1350.
10 hour week, but,
So
you know what
it
I mean?
comes
There's
to
one of these towns
over
that has
9,000.
skyrocketed growth, they're clearly gonna need what they're building.
Right.
There's one of these towns that does not.
Well, the question is that, I mean, if we're gonna get into policy questions, I'd like to have a lot more people here for that policy discussion. Because I don't want,
Well, I just didn't know if it was, the discussion was being had at all.
no one's had that discussion at all yet.
Okay.
I put that one.
Okay.
Not about among wage and personnel, though, no one, this board hasn't had it as far as I know, wage and personnel. I try and attend most of their meetings, they've not had it. Diane's not telling me I'm wrong.
I didn't hear the question, Shelley, I'm sorry.
We've not had a discussion about the service levels for these positions, the number of hours that are needed for free, based on the work that your folks are doing.
No, we don't.
But that's not it.
Well, except the finance committee, I guess, look, the finance, are you telling me the finance committee asked wage and personnel
We
for this information?
Did.
We did.
Well, just to look at, but not to determine what's necessary.
Right, because just to provide the, wage and personnel would obtain the information, provide to the finance committee. Wage and personnel bailiwick is not to determine service levels.
So,
It's not in their chart.
so basically, finance committee should get a copy of the spreadsheet that was handed out at that meeting and talk about it at the
But
at the next
the
meeting.
information that's several
So we
lots
mailed
is
it.
not contained in that spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, where are we? On voting.
5, we have a motion.
We have a
and
motion and a second.
Which one?
On 5, you made a motion, I made a motion, do we have a second?
I seconded.
Okay.
Okay. All those,
We good. Do you want one, Bill? All right.
do you want?
Yeah, is there a next one?
Yes,
Thank
there
you.
is.
I'll have it.
All right, let's put that aside. Let's talk about that on Monday. Okay, so we're on 5. It's to vote. It's been moved, been seconded. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
No.
Okay, 2-2.
So for those 2 through 5,
Yep.
this is just a clarification question for me. I'm assuming that the other departments also had the opportunity to come forward and ask for these changes, and they didn't.
Well, this was requested for fiscal year 17. We were still working on it in fiscal year 18. We felt obligated to look at these 3 positions, only because they came forward. The rest of the folks, the rest of the non-union were going to be reclassified under the whole umbrella, but we never finished that project.
Okay. 6, the grandfather clause to remove. 7 would be to replace. Okay. Is there a motion?
7's just to add the following language.
So you're gonna remove this first and replace it with
That's-
that?
Replace it with this.
No, 6 is being removed.
But we're replacing with C. We're replacing C to C, right?
It's 2 different things. We're deleting the section 27, and we're adding a new section 27, I'm sorry, so, but it's not the same thing.
Okay.
It's 2 different things.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve number 6 on the wage and
Okay.
personnel synopsis
See you, Jane.
Is
as
motion,
printed.
motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, there you go. You keep it that way. Any further discussion on this?
Yeah, well, how was the communication time?
Charlie put this in, Sandy.
Is this 6 we're talking?
This is 6C,
Yes,
yeah.
because there's no one here who started before July 1st, 2003. We don't need that anymore.
Okay.
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 Charlie and I are 2 of the longest, and I started.
So you're not gonna leave and come back?
No, that's the next one.
No, that's the next one.
I'm not
That's the next one.
promising.
The next one was added because somebody had requested that return to service after a break in service.
Okay. So
So-
let's vote this one then.
That's the reason for the next one.
Okay. All those in favor of 6?
Aye.
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 Whoops.
Okay. That passes unanimous. 7.
That's new language regarding vacation accrual for somebody that returns to service after being laid off within a 2-year period.
Okay. So just a question about that. This is only for layoff.
Only for layoffs, correct.
So if you quit and then come back.
Originally, it was going to be if you had less than a 2-year break in service and you came back, we were going to give vacation accrual, but the whole board didn't vote unanimously on this.
Okay.
So we changed it to layoff.
Okay.
So is there, Or we get a
There's
discussion?
no,
point?
Well, here, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? Okay.
Discussion.
Yeah, is there how should I say this? Is there a certain amount of time they have to be in service for this to apply?
No.
So they could be here a month?
Well,
Right, but
I'm
then they
guessing
would only
outside
be-
their probationary period, I would assume.
No, it doesn't really
No,
come
they
into
start
play. It wouldn't really matter, because,
vacation The day that they
Yeah.
start. But this is if someone was laid off. We're not gonna hire someone and lay them off in a month. So this is only going to
But if-
apply to
We have.
someone who's.
but if that did happen, though, Bill.
Where's the, no, come on, what's
No, but if it did happen, they would,
Lay
yeah.
them off in a month.
They would get that vacation accrual for that month they did work here, so they'll take that.
Yeah.
It's not gonna give them anything extra if they,
Yeah.
if it's only a month.
They're not gonna get the time that they were
If
laid
someone's
off.
I was just curious if
Yeah.
that needed to
Yeah.
be stated as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Okay. That one will make a recommendation. A positive one.
Now we're really rolling.
Recommendations under grades and steps to grade and step unclassified to replace the following. Assistant outreach worker, $14.75 per hour with the following. Assistant outreach worker, $15.54 per hour.
And that is paid out of a grant.
And this position doesn't get the usual 2% increase each year.
Okay.
They're held up because it's a formula grant that the
Yeah.
Council on Aging Director has to put together, so she has missed the last couple
Yeah.
of 2% increases.
Who's going to use calculator here? 15.54.
In the last 2 years, it has been 2%, Sandy?
I think
No,
it's
1 year
2%,
wasn't.
1.5.
Yeah, the year before, I
Yeah.
believe.
So this is a 5.35.
Let's put it this way, she
5.3.
won't get the next 2% or whatever either, so
She won't get the 2% this year, so
she won't
that's,
get it this year.
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
that's like 5.5.
It's 5.3%.
Yeah, so that would be the 5 more.
Yeah, so if we take into consideration the 2% for this coming fiscal year, it would be 5.5% that she missed out on.
It would bring her up to
Yeah.
about, so she hasn't had raises the last 2 years, the 1.5 and the 2, and this would be, if you add the 2 for FY19, it brings it right up to about what she should have.
The appropriate number.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta vote no to this one. Because I voted
can
no to
mix
the
it
other.
up.
No, because we're not changing. We're not reclassifying.
No, I voted against the 2%. I gotta
Oh.
be,
Yeah, to be consistent.
yeah.
to be
Yeah.
consistent. All right. Is there a motion
Yeah.
to,
I
is
will
there a
make-
motion?
I will make a motion.
Is there a second?
I will second the motion.
All those in favor,
I have
aye?
a question.
Oh,
Sure.
okay.
Sorry.
That's all right.
So I think you mentioned earlier that there's a no vote on this. The wage and personnel didn't vote on it. I wrote down,
Oh, no, we did vote on it.
we did vote on it.
Yes.
It's,
Wage and personnel did vote
The
on it.
full-time outreach director was up for a classification change. That's what didn't get voted.
That we passed over. We had another reclassification bill, and we passed it over.
Okay. And how many hours a week is this?
I'm not sure how many
About
hours.
five.
About 5?
It's-
5 hours a week?
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
All right. Moved, seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
I'm a no, there you go, 3-1 passes. Nine, to recommend change to detail rate for special police officers and officers from other communities. Commercial details greatest overtime rate for patrol officer under the union contract. Town details overtime rate for special police officer.
Yeah, none of them are members of Troop E or Troop F.
Thank God.
Are we doing Boy Scouts now? oh, state police. Now I gotcha.
No, Sandy and I, when we've been talking with the departments, we needed something that was standard in the sense of we've had precedent, we've had practice, there's nothing in the bylaw.
Okay.
And we need something to fall back on to say, this is the rate.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is there a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Is there a second?
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, we have discussion.
Oh, discussion.
You're gonna interrupt me, Bill.
Sorry.
No vote
That's
yet, go.
So, what is the arrangement now?
The arrangement is basically what we're talking about right now, because we had to figure something out. I mean, we can't have somebody coming in and working, they've been doing it for years, and saying, okay, well, how much is it getting paid? I don't know. So what we're doing is coding in what we've been.
What you're already doing, yes, okay. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay, and then recommended change the detail rate for call firefighters to time and a half.
I'll make a motion. to
Second.
approve.
Because we were in a weird situation in that technically if you work a town detail,
Yep.
you would normally be paid time and a half. But that assumes that you've been working 40 hours already that week. Yet, so we have situations where person X was working in town detail and getting straight pay because they hadn't worked 40 hours yet that
Because they're
week.
qualified.
Right, yet the person next door to them was getting at least time and a half, so.
Okay. Is there,
Aye.
has it been moved?
Yes, I moved it.
Seconded?
Yep.
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye. Okay. Well, guys, we got Articles 2 and 3 done for this year. And it's 9:40. All right. I need to take a break for a few minutes and just stretch.
Yep.
5 minutes?
Yeah, that would be great. I sat way too long.
Being serious is how long you folks planning on staying?
So what we voted so far is all the wage articles. We voted all the expense lines except for the ones that didn't get level funded or decreased.
The only thing, we got through the school,
And we voted anything that was decreased.
Yeah.
we have the debt to do. On those 3 line items is wages and just those 3 debt items, I believe, is all we have left in expense,
The
right?
cable television,
We didn't vote the
Okay.
PEG yet.
um,
What's going on is,
I think that's it. Because we voted the tax title, right?
We did.
Yeah. Right,
well,
yeah.
Is
So,
it recycling for the recycling? Yeah, for the actual cost for recycling, the disposal costs.
that was,
that is the expense line.
Yeah,
it was voted because it was,
It was level
It
funded.
was level funded.
no, it was
Oh,
less.
decreased,
It
26,000.
was decreased.
no, not solid waste.
Trash collection
Yeah.
and disposal
Yeah.
was decreased.
Oh, because the overall line item went down, we don't do, it's a sub-line item like
Right.
that, okay.
The only other thing I think, was I think we wanted to talk about the water tower debt.
That's an article.
Okay,
The water tower debt is.
We're gonna retire it.
We're gonna do it through an article.
okay.
Working it that way seems a little bit more rational to everybody else, in the sense of, if we have a line item that goes from, I don't know, 50,000 to 500,000, even though we have the money to do it, and we can, just, here's the story, it was a lot easier
We don't wanna.
answering the
start
questions
lying.
as part of a separate article, rather than a line item in the budget that looks weird.
So the roof article,
Do you have any more
net
snacks?
exclusion for the.
Don't. You have the water if you want it.
I just didn't know what you had in your goodie bag over there.
No, just not a water.
Do we know that
I cheated on the ride up here and had my power bar.
we do need to be paying?
And I'm popping these things like Tic Tacs
Oh,
all
I
day.
know.
We should, will it be bonded?
Yeah, one more.
That's what I'm asking.
No, we should be doing that.
I'll find us one overall watch. I'll
But
find us
if we're
one.
paying it
Did you get it
off the
hardware?
van,
Play that went through my stomach.
Oh my
The
God.
interior approach?
Yes. I'll check with,
Yeah, I should never sit as long as we did without standing up.
as far as I know,
and what
My
happens
foot's
if we
completely numb right now.
come in with a
Did you
lower
put, they
number?
put in a motion device or fuse it?
If we vote.
Kim's coming on
higher
wage and
number
personnel.
and we are
That's a
actually
liaison.
paying, then I have
I
to
worked
keep
in
all
that
that
business
money.
I think I'm gonna
13 years.
do my notes in the middle of the next meeting. You can have it back.
No, as soon as you just make sure you get to a vote first.
So I had, so Sandy, I had wages in lines 149 and C last week.
You have what?
I had a note that we needed to complete wages in lines 149 ABC.
Yep.
Yes. Those are the gap.
And then the cable line,
And
and
the
that's
cable
it.
one, which is a lot.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve line 145, debt, water tower and paint, oh, it's not there.
No, not that.
All right, all right, 149, A,
A, B, and C.
debt, Halifax School roof and repair, 159.
I'll make a motion to approve line 149A for the sum of 414,159.
That sounds good.
I will second.
Okay, all those in favor, any discussion?
So what's the number? What discussion?
414,159.
That number will probably go down before town meeting.
At town meeting,
Yeah.
if you haven't
I'll give
updated.
it to you once we get it updated.
Okay,
But yes.
okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, 149B, debt fire, Halifax Elementary School fire suppression system, $90,373.
Make a motion to approve line 149B for $90,373.
I'll second.
Discussion? Bill?
No.
All in favor, aye.
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 Okay, 149, C, debt, council on aging, 185,000.
Make a motion to approve line 149C for $185,000.
Is the
I will second.
discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye. Line 133.
Line 133. Cable television.
Make a motion to approve line 133 for the sum of $250,000.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Discussion.
Is this expected to increase next year?
This goes along with the cable revenue.
It's whatever money
Yeah.
comes in to us from the cable, from Comcast.
it is higher because we ended up with more money coming in last year, or the year we're in, than we're actually authorized to spend right now. And the money can only be used for this function.
Okay.
Think of it,
So it
think of
could
it as
go
an
up
ent-
next year.
It's basically an enterprise fund, but it's a strict pass-through enterprise fund. So eventually, any money that we do get has to go there. But the only way to do that is to actually appropriate the money.
Yep.
So if we have stuff left over, we've got to bump the appropriation up to cover that stuff that's left over.
Okay.
Sorry, I had a call friend who needed me to bring her dog to the room tomorrow. Anyway,
Do you go to Pam?
no, she goes somewhere in Kingston, so I just had to call someone for a minute.
Yes, it's better than a cat. Okay.
No, I'm sorry. So you're going through the budgets, right? And can you just answer me why you're not going through the articles?
We're getting through this first, and then we're gonna get to as many articles as we can.
Okay.
But I'd turn into a pumpkin at 10 o'clock, so.
I just know the taxpayers get very upset when they get their warrants and there's no.
Well, I mean, other than the fact that this is really the first meeting that we've had the whole fiscal year with actual numbers, it's kind of tough to go through and make determinations on what we should be doing with the money until we know what we actually have for numbers. I mean, this snow days really screwed up everything.
I had hoped to have got through a lot of it last Thursday, but I had been in bed for 2 days, so.
Thank you.
Moved and seconded?
Correct?
All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay. So, let's start wages.
Let's do it this way.
You're gonna
Let's
make
make a
a,
blanket motion.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, I'd like to make a blanket motion approving all salary line items in the Article 5 expenditures spreadsheet handed out by Sandy this evening, to be approved at a rate of a 2% across the board wage increase.
I'll second.
With steps.
With steps and
Necessary other
and
contracts.
necessary contractual obligations.
Did we have an exception for the moderator, selectmen, or whatever else was mentioned earlier, Charlie?
Because it's what it's printed.
Those and with Article 3.
Yeah.
We already did Article 3.
Right, but these have to be updated.
Okay.
So I would amend your motion to say something to line up with
To include
Article.
the Article 3.
Well, no, he said all wage and
Yes.
all salary lines.
Yeah.
Well,
Those are
except
salary.
but they don't go up 2% is what the point is they're mentioning.
Yeah.
So another
So the moderator
contractual
doesn't
obligation.
increase.
Yeah, so moderator, selectmen, and assessors don't go up.
How about
Right,
this, to
whatever else.
reflect the wage schedule and the wage personnel bylaw?
All right, let's vote 1, 2, and 16 as they don't go up. And then we'll just blanket the rest.
All right, vote those right now then.
All right, make a motion to approve line 1, moderator salary for $200.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. I'd like to make a motion to approve line 2, selectman salary, $4,500.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye. I'd like to make a motion to approve line 16, assessor's salary, $4,500.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye. I'd like to make a motion to approve all salary lines previously unvoted in the Article 5 expenditure spreadsheet to be approved when corrected to reflect the 2% across the board wage increase previously voted this evening, including all steps and union negotiations.
I'll second.
Just Barbara point out, if someone mentioned Article 5, it's Article 4.
The sheet that she handed me says Article 5 at the top.
Okay.
Normally it is Article 4.
It used to be back when dinosaurs ruled New York, it was Article 5.
Since Charlie and I are the oldest two in the room, we rule with dinosaurs. Just saying.
Sandy was around for Article 5.
Yeah.
I was here for Article.
Well, I was just naming the piece of paper you gave me.
That's right.
So the only question, I wouldn't approve, unless are all unions just openers?
Let's see, patrol, yes, sergeants, yes, fire chief, yes, police chief, yes, highway, and those one, the union, we will have separate union articles. So you can say accepting any increases due to union contracts or personal contracts.
Get that language, Kendra?
And what about the elected
So the
officials?
police, don't change
I'll play it back.
don't change the police chief line item, don't change the fire chief line item. You'll change highway, but only because there is a little bit of wage and personnel money in the highway, but it won't increase 2%, it will increase 2% based on the employees inside that line item.
Yeah.
Same thing with police, because we have specials, and same thing with fire, because we have call. But any increases due to union contracts for a 2% increase will be done through the articles that are.
Separate articles. Okay.
Okay.
Okay with that amended
I
language?
have most of it and the rest of it I'll get when I watch the,
Okay.
Okay.
Or she'll talk to somebody.
right, or I'll go see Andy.
All right, with all that statement, is there a motion? And so there's been a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
I'm a no, because I voted no on the others.
I know.
All right.
Okay. Article 4 done.
All right. I've got 10 minutes left before I need to go take medicine. By medicine, I mean multiple axes. So, do you have a copy of the?
Give those articles, it gives it goes to the warrant, or you just.
It's the one that heads up about one change that's probably going to be on the warrant. I got a note from Division of Local Services today about the revolving fund article. We've taken it off because it was our impression that we passed through the bylaw, and our vote last May, it said, starting fiscal 19, here's the bylaw, here are the amounts, was enough. We would never have to, unless we had a change in the amounts or added an additional revolving fund, we wouldn't have to do it. DLS says, no, you still have to approve the amounts every single year.
Okay. So we're gonna have an updated article.
Yeah, there'll be an article for that. There's
Okay.
no change in anything.
But we've gotta
the
vote it.
article.
Okay.
When you see the next edition of this, don't be surprised.
Okay. So, how are we gonna? So, did you line up the?
Bill, are you available Thursday evening?
Yes.
Diane, are you available
Yes.
Thursday evening? Melinda is if she's feeling better, correct?
I hope so.
Yeah,
Because at that point,
as far as we know. And you have already seen the presentation, I don't know that there's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot that you're not gonna be supporting.
it's just a volume.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's fine, it just,
No, I understand. If Charlie's going to print on Friday, then maybe we can get the majority of this done. I know you had special interest in zoning articles. Maybe we can go over those tonight.
then maybe those too, because they might require more, because planning board hasn't looked at a couple of them.
Yeah, we haven't even had the planning board hearing yet.
Yeah, so if
Alright,
you
so
want to
hold
just
off on
do the
those.
articles that are the capital items, because that's what people pay attention the most to.
Yeah.
And if you can't get them today, if you could do them on,
So how many do we have to get through?
97.
no, you just need to do the, in my opinion, if you just do the capital items and the rest of it you wait,
There is not.
just because that's what people look for.
Well, that's
Not what-
23.
Yeah, so we've kind of done, we've kind of, like, what we could do is, you could look at the list, we've done presentations, you have the information, you had the opportunity to talk to the department heads that had, if you had a question, and if you want to just look at it, if you want to ask any specific questions, and then maybe you could just vote the same way you did with the,
Why don't we just do a few to jump? So we have Article 5 to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $75,000 to the reserve fund to cover extraordinary or unforeseen expenses during fiscal year 2019.
how about not reading them and just moving the articles?
Well, I was just killing the transfer part.
Oh, all right.
Because we're gonna vote to raise and appropriate that one, not to transfer.
Oh, okay.
And then to transfer from available sum, the sum of $50,000 to the water reserve fund. We're taking
Make a
action
motion to
on.
approve Article 5 as printed.
I'll second.
Okay, would just kill the transfer on that, and we're good?
Yep.
Okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Alright. Listed here is 7, that's union. Article 8's union. Article 9's union. 10 is union. 11's union. 12 is union. 13, see if the town will. Is that raising? No, that's free cash. To see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the available sum of $150 to use for the trustees of the county cooperative extension and authorize the selectmen to appoint a town director within 15 days as provided in revised chapter 128 section 41 of the Massachusetts General Law.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
14, we don't have the chapter number yet, correct? The roads?
Yeah, it's still sitting in the state legislature.
Okay, skip. Article 1A to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $150,000 for the maintenance of town roads or take any action thereon.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $7,150 from the FY18 large truck account, and I'm assuming the balance from free cash, and the balance of $850 from free cash, or to replace line 709 from the highway department to take any action thereon. This is for the large dump truck. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
I want to just quick discuss, sorry. I know last year at town meeting, there was quite a bit of vocal opposition to a new large truck, which eventually passed and was purchased. I would expect that the taxpayers will be raising the same concerns. I personally, just a fundamental business thing is new guy running the department, all new equipment. It's just something I'm very hesitant to go all in, so to speak, with a new department head. And I know Steve's been there 100 years. It's more a philosophical thing for me, and that's why I'm voting no.
Okay. So that's a no vote.
That's a no vote for me.
3-1. Okay. Article 3A, to see if the town will vote to... What's the Kubota? What the hell's the Kubota?
The Kubota is,
We're gonna pass over that.
Yeah.
Steve is basically waving his hands at everyone.
wants to
Hey,
put it on the
I'm gonna
list,
be
but he
getting
wants
it
to
next
pass it.
year.
Okay, that's good. So is there a motion to approve the passover?
So
Or
moved.
how about not recommending?
Well, is it not even going to go to print?
Well, it's gonna
It's
go to
gonna
print.
go-
It should go to print, that makes sense.
You can vote to pass, you can vote to, I mean, you technically.
You can vote to not recommend it, because it wasn't recommended by the capital planning
Okay.
committee, so you can vote to not.
Is there a motion not to recommend?
I make a motion not to recommend.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of not recommending? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so not recommend 4-0.
Kim, I don't see that on our list.
Which
No.
one?
It's not, that's why we're,
Okay.
okay, to see if the town will vote to transfer, where is this one?
That's the flail alarm, I think.
The flail, that's not gonna make it,
That's not-
that's not gonna be on the warrant.
That's a do not.
That's a, yeah, you have Charlie's extremely hot warrant.
I had,
Scratch it.
That's the wrong one.
the kitchen sink is in.
So is this not on the warrant, or is this gonna be not recommended?
It's gonna be pulled.
Okay. Excuse me. Article A5, see if the town will vote lift and jacks.
That's not on.
It's on your list.
Oh, all right, sorry, yes.
To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $21,155 from free cash for lifts and 4 jack stands for the highway department, or take any action thereon. Is there a motion to recommend?
I make a motion to recommend.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? None? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, passes 4-0. I'm getting yelled at. Yeah, okay. 6A, to see if the town will vote to transfer this is a new position.
There was,
That's
it's not going in. It's
Okay.
being deleted. Same thing, when you'll get to a cemetery one, same thing.
Okay. To see if the 7A, to see if the town will vote to transfer $15,000 for hook lift maintenance, hook lift.
No,
It's
that
the
one-
hook.
That one's off.
That one's off?
Yeah, there's a one further down for the jump body for the forest fire truck, that's later.
Okay.
Well, this is for the fire forest fire truck, so this is
Right.
gone?
There's another one in there for the dump body, so.
So the forest truck is not on your recommended list?
The forest fire truck is from, when the fire department buys the forest fire truck, they're going to give the old forest fire truck to the highway department, who's gonna put a dump body on it. Take off.
Because right now, we have forest fire truck listed at 150,000.
Yes.
Right, they're gonna buy a
But
new
that's
truck,
not
they're gonna
that
take the
same
old truck and retrofit it with a dump body.
At $4,000.
Correct.
Okay, so vote to transfer, to see if the town will vote to transfer $4,000 from free cash for a new hook lift maintenance to update the forest fire truck?
So in that article, cross that article out, because later on, you're gonna have one that's for the dump body.
Okay. Okay, to see if the town will vote to raise or transfer available funds, $6,500 to the highway department vehicle maintenance line, that out too?
No, that's out.
That's out.
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
We should have given them an update on the show.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from a sum of $5,000 highway barn, that's out too?
That's out.
To see if the town will vote to raise, appropriate, or transfer from available sum $211,000 for the purpose of being compliant with the gas tanks.
Yes, I have to reword the article, but it's to take the ones that are in there right now underground, get them out of there, we'll end up with an above ground system.
All right, so that's the transfer of $5,000 from the
In fact,
old.
I think we're moving that to the special in the end, if I remember right.
5,000 from the old gas tank, are we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we can get the work started
All right.
early.
I guess we're moving this to the special town meeting.
But yeah, we'll move your recommendation also.
Okay, so this is to move $5,000 from the old gas tank removal article and the $206,000 from free cash. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. To see if the town will vote to parking lot. Did that make it?
It was
Check it
passed
out.
off.
Okay.
Passed.
That was passed off. Article 11, to see if the town will transfer 30, increase in hours, that's gone.
That's gone.
Good.
Increased hours, gone. $70,000 for a cab over truck with a hook lift.
Yep, and that's coming from the cemetery trust fund.
Okay, so to see if the town will vote to transfer from the cemetery trust fund $70,000 for a cab over truck with a hook lift sander plow to replace number 709 for the
708.
708 for the cemetery department, or take any action on finance.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. 4-0. Next. Whoa, water tower. Okay. To see if the town will vote to transfer from the water retained earnings the sum of $567,539
So moved.
for the principal payment of the water tower painting and repair debt and $7,530. Where is that 79?
No,
Oh, so-
760,000 for the principal, 7,539 for the interest.
All coming from the
All of the
enterprise.
Retained earnings.
Okay. So that noted.
Yep.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. To see if the town will raise and transfer. This is gonna go to the special.
What's gonna be in the special?
The reinstall the wireless access points and cameras at the elementary school? Okay, so to see if the town will transfer from free cash the sum of $1,360 to remove and reinstall the wireless access points and cameras at the Halifax Elementary School and take any action thereof. Is there a motion to recommend?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. That one's going to the special. Okay, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $18,000 to repair and replace the fiber optic cables at the Halifax Elementary School or take any action thereof. This is going to the special. Is there a motion to recommend?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion we already had. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. To see if the town will vote to remove, this isn't in there, right?
What is it?
Silver Lake Project District,
No,
removal lights,
no,
poles.
it's part of the budget.
Okay. To see if the town will, where is this one? Assesses triangle, okay. To see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $14,750 for the assessors recertification account or take any action thereof.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. To see if the town will, Conservation Commission, where are we getting the,
Wetland secretary. It's above the assessor triangle.
okay. To see if the town will transfer from wetlands account the sum of $7,500 for additional hours for the Conservation Commission Secretary for wetland protection work and review or take any action thereon. Is there a motion to recommend?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
4-0. To see if the town will vote to transfer $14,000. Where is that coming from? This is for copy machines.
Free cash.
14,000 is the number though?
It was 15,000 on the
I had
list.
15, but you said
14,
14.
yeah.
Charlie says 14.
Okay, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $14,000 for 2 new copy machines for the town of Halifax Town Hall or take any action thereof. So motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
4-0. To see if the town will transfer from free cash the sum of $80,000 to purchase and equip with miscellaneous police equipment 2 new marked police vehicles to be used for patrol or take any action thereof. Is there a motion to recommend?
There is so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. To see if the town will vote to raise an appropriate $20,000 for police vests. Is this one?
That's taken on.
That's out. Radios, repairs, pagers
That's taken on.
from the police, taken out the police.
Radios, that's not from the police, that's from fire, and that's been put into the...
Okay. Okay, the next one's the police chief for new turnout gear. For, that one you might want to update,
That's
Charlie.
Fire chief.
That one says police chief.
The turnout gears,
For the fire, it just,
Yeah, that's going into the
that's going away.
into the budget anyway.
okay.
Yeah.
The next one, so the next one's the same thing, the $125,000 to rehab and equip engine 1.
That's 150,000.
That's $150,000.
Yeah.
You want to change the proposed by?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna point out. That one, Charlie, again, is proposed by, it says the police chief. To see if the town will transfer the sum of $150,000 to rehab and equip engine 1 or take any action thereof. Is there a motion to recommend?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
That was from free cash, correct?
Yes.
4-0. To see if the town will vote to rescue tools for the fire department. Rescue.
35,000.
35,000, okay, because this is 34.
Yeah.
Okay, to see if the town will transfer 35,000, transfer the sum of 35,000 to, from free cash to purchase new rescue tools for the fire department or take any action thereof. Is there a motion to recommend?
I'll make a motion to recommend.
Is there a second?
Second.
Just a quick question. What are the rescue tools?
That's the jaws.
Jaws.
Oh, Jaws of Life. Okay, yeah, I remember this
That'll be
conversation now.
fire chief, right?
Yeah, that needs to be updated to fire chief. Okay, move, seconded, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. Okay, so the foresting truck is 150? Okay, so this one needs to be updated too. So to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $150,000 to purchase a forestry fighting vehicle to take any action thereof. again, proposed by the fire chief. Is the motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, we have it in there twice?
Looks like it.
Okay. Skip 26. No, it's in there twice. Okay. To see if the town will, 15,000 for expenses and a police chief.
Oh, police chief search.
Police, so, to see if the town will vote to transfer
We'll
from,
try moving that to the special, just, you know, again, because we'll need to start moving the balls around before July 1st. But we'll carry over your motion to...
okay. To see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of 15,000 to pay for the expenses in hiring a new police chief, including but not limited to recruitment in an assessment center, or take any action thereof. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0 passes. And that's going to the special. Sum of money to purchase parcels of land. That's gonna stay in?
No, we'll move to the special,
That's gonna move to the special.
because we're on the clock for that. I don't know if I can wait until July 1st for the month.
Okay, question I had regarding that is the sale of land from Burridge.
Yeah, I think I have, there's an article somewhere floating, maybe, I think even on that, even just if it says one line, I have to check with town council, I need, again, and I have to check with the AG's, IG's office. Our plan is to in fact sell it, but I don't know whether I need town meeting or not, because it's just transferred back to the state.
Okay. Will those funds be used at, like, if you do that at the special, or is that not gonna happen by the special?
No, the sale won't happen until sometime in the fall 28th of this year.
Okay. I was just thinking if those funds were gonna be available to spend on
It won't be
this.
available for this town meeting, no.
Okay, so let's skip over 28A for right now, because we just did the assessment. To see if the town will vote to transfer voting machines, did that make the list?
No.
Did not. Seeing you here, do you want to speak to it? Okay. That one's not even going to be printed, or it is going to be printed? Voting machines.
And the only one that's printed that we were going to pass over
Was the highway?
the highway one.
Okay. To see if the town will transfer from free cash?
Yeah, it's free cash.
Free cash, the sum of 43,000 to a new underscore truck, work truck,
Work truck.
The utility trucks.
utility truck for the municipal and school building committee, or take any action thereof. So transfer from free cash 43,000 for a utility truck. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, it's 4-0. So this is,
Just if I can interrupt for 1
Yep.
minute. So most of these are going to be from free cash, as you can see, I wrote free cash on all
Yep.
of them. 70,000 of this money is actually coming from the local options meals tax.
so that's gonna be raise and appropriate then?
Right. That's how we do we say local options meals
No,
tax, or we
it's raise
just say
and
raise and appropriate? So 70,000 of this money, but we want to save that 30,000 out of the 70, not out of the free cash.
So is
So we
there,
want to sell, I wasn't anticipating you voting the, where the money was coming from at this time, but about 40,000 of this list will come from raise and appropriate. I'll have to add it up to figure out.
so, well, do you wanna just take the 70,000 for the repair and replace the HVAC system at the police station, so it's done?
Yeah, the HVAC is going to be 50,000,
Came in lower.
and 5,000 is going to come from a different article. But we want to leave the extra, whatever's extra at the end, which is right now 30,443, from the raise and appropriate. So we want to spend the free cash down, because that disappears at the end of at July 1st.
So out of the 30,000 that we have left for the column, 70 of that is actually raised and appropriate. So we gotta spend $70,000 out of raise and appropriate to
No.
meet that list.
No, we have 40,000.
39 something.
567.
Yeah, 39,567.
So when we get to police station HVAC, just make it,
Make three
make the
motions.
funding, make
That's a good idea.
multiple funding sources.
Okay.
39.
All right, so the next one we're on is transfer to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of 21,000 to repair and replace garage doors. So where are we? So that's 21, that's free cash. To see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of 21,700 to repair and replace garage doors at the highway bar to take any action thereof. Is there a motion to recommend?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
4-0. Okay. To see if the town will transfer
From free cash.
from free cash the sum of 8,200 to repair and replace the windows at the highway barn or take any action thereof. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Here
So
comes
this
the
next one. To see if the town will vote to transfer from to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate 39,000, what was the number?
567. 39,567.
39,567 to transfer 5,000 from animal control
557. I'm sorry.
557.
557. Okay. Kendra, you get that update?
Yeah.
Okay. 557.
$557.
Yep. $5,000 from animal control account and
$5,443.
$5,443 from
Free cash.
free cash. Got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Where was that $557 coming from?
That's raise and appropriate, so 39,557. Okay?
Oh, okay. It's not 67. Got it.
Okay.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. So that's takes care of that.
And that was 50,000, right? Total?
Yeah, total
Okay.
50,000. So to see if the town will vote to transfer the pump jack staging. Did that make the list? Okay, to see if the town will transfer from free cash the sum of $2,550 to repair and replace pump staging for nothing? Pump jack staging.
MSBC.
That's for, the
For
site-
municipal, no,
to
it
work
just
on
has
the side of
a,
the building.
just has a blank, so should we just say for municipal school and building department?
Yeah.
All right, you got that, Kendra?
Yep.
Or take any action thereof. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Yes.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. 35, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $4,000 to repair and replace the dump body of the old forest fire truck or take any action thereof. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Anyone?
I have second for the purpose of discussion.
Okay, go.
So this $4,000 contingent upon the fire article being approved for the large forest fire truck. So does that change?
No, because
We should definitely make John
but we
Bruno
need to
aware of it.
make sure that those are linked together.
Okay, so I just want to make sure everyone was aware that they are linked.
Barbara, those two are linked.
What I'll do is, when we get
I
the,
wasn't laughing at you, I'm sorry.
when we get them ordered properly, I'll make sure they're next to each other. It'd be much easier to tell John Bruno also.
Okay. Answer your question?
It did.
Okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. 4-0. 4-0. Solar lights. Is that the right number? Okay, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $780 for solar lights to illuminate the flagpoles and take any action thereof. Is there a motion to,
I'll make the motion to approve.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion.
Yes.
This will be the one that takes up the most time at town meeting, $780.
I'm just curious why this is a capital item. I mean, it's way outside the.
It's not a capital item, but we have certain articles that they don't fall into the capital, but they're also not raise and appropriate. So we put them usually at the bottom of the list
Yeah,
of things. So it's the only place we have money
to fund it.
for it, yeah.
So I think I recall it was recommended by the police chief, or was it the NSBC?
Child.
Oh, it was
Because under the law, we're supposed to keep, we have the flags flying at night. We're supposed to keep it.
Okay.
We've never done, I mean, obviously, why this year? Well, simply because finally we got around to thinking about it.
Most time, 25 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the flagpoles. I was thinking of the lights in the school library.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
4-0. Okay, to see if the town will shed, where's the shed?
Swap shed.
Yeah,
That's down towards the bottom, under solid waste enterprise fund.
oh, enterprise fund, that's why I couldn't find it. Okay, to see if the town will vote to transfer from solid waste retained earnings? Or is that
From
enterprise?
solid waste retained earnings and, but
There's two articles funding it.
2,790 from articles from,
Article number 35, article of,
and article number 50.
okay. Yeah.
So,
And the rest is from the retained earnings?
yeah,
10. So what was that?
so 5610 from retained earnings.
5610. Okay, to see if the town will vote to transfer from solid waste retained earning $5,610 and 2,000. So you're gonna have to break those
I'll
ones
have it
out.
broken down in the motion, 2,790 from those two.
2,790 from Article 35 from the special annual some meeting 5/8/17 and from 5/16 from a different year
No,
Article 50.
from
I'll have
Article
it all
50.
broken up.
Okay.
I promise.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
4-0. Okay, 38, to see if the town will transfer from compactor, from retained earnings, solid waste retained earnings, the sum of $9,500 for the purchase and installation of a compactor, including necessary materials for equipment for the recycling center, taking action of.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. To see if the town will vote to transfer or from free cash the sum of $3,500 to support South Coastal County's Legal Services, Inc. for continued free legal services in civil matters to elders, low-income families, their children, and take any action thereof.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. To see if this town will transfer from free cash $3,500 to support South Shore Women's Resource Center for Domestic Violence Intervention and Prevention for services for its residents or taking action thereof. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
4-0. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
To see if the town will
Full
vote
of water.
to transfer from free cash the sum of $3,500 to support South Shore Community Action Council's work with residents in Halifax to take any action thereof.
I didn't see this one.
I don't see
That
that
one,
one.
I did not have on.
Okay.
They came in late.
Okay.
Right, and they never, so the order of things was that they met with the selectmen back in January to do a presentation. They said they were going to bring an article in. You did it. We followed up earlier, earlier now, it's March, so followed up earlier last month with them and said, we never got an article from you. We said, well, he put an article on for us, and the board said fine, but we're not gonna put it on for 5,000, which is what they requested. We put it on for 3,500. There are years where this article shows up on the warrant, there are years there aren't. I don't think the board feels as strongly necessarily about this as the other two that you just recommended, but I'll let my esteemed boss.
I don't feel strong. In fact, I wanted to cut them, but that was.
Well, you did, because if they asked for 5, you only put it on there for 3,500.
Yeah, so.
So are the selectmen gonna vote on this?
I'm not gonna battle you personally over it.
Well, anyways,
I don't know if anyone on the board will speak to it, I won't, if you don't recommend.
Because what I said to the board was you can put it on, but just as a courtesy to these folks. You don't necessarily have to support it. So I don't think the board has made a recommendation one way or the other.
No.
So if somebody asked, there is money available, it will be funded from free cash if there's a recommendation.
Yes.
So we could not make a motion on this right now until we hear from the selectmen? Is that cool?
Sounds good to me.
There we go, next.
I have a quick question though. What is this, what do you actually get for the service, for the 3,500? I don't get South Shore Community Action Council. What does
They
that
run
mean?
a number of programs for people who are in need, everything from fuel assistance to housing assistance, and I can get you information about it. And they did a presentation with the board in January.
I mean, they do good things.
I can Google it, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so is the next one gonna be the same, 5,000?
That's a petition article which just showed up on our doorstep in essence. We've not had any communication with these folks at all whatsoever. They've not
That's a
asked to come in and meet with the board of selectmen.
Yeah.
So.
This one's zoning?
No.
Oh.
This is 5,000 from some other group.
Oh, that's one I wanted to cut.
This is proposed
You don't
by,
even know who these folks are.
but Mr. Shea,
On principle or not?
so this is proposed by Mr. Shea.
Yes.
I love Mr. Shea, but I'm going to cut it.
I have absolutely no idea, so.
So let's hold off on this one until you get more
Let me
information.
get a haircut first.
How do you like this?
So the next one is,
Can I ask, because I think I might have missed it, did you approve the windows for the highway bond?
Yeah.
That article one?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. There is one that was missing off of that is another money article, and that's the network switches and associated equipment. That
We did
is
that.
on the special.
They'll be on the special.
I thought we
It's
voted
for
that.
$39,000.
I thought, maybe we didn't do that one. All right, so is there a,
It wasn't on,
wasn't there.
it wasn't in Charlie's.
okay, is there to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of 39,000 to replace and equip network switches and associated
That's it.
equipment,
Yes.
or take any action thereof. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
There we go, it's on special.
Thank you. Are you done all the finances now?
That's all the money.
That's all of them.
That's all good, that's all I needed, thank you.
So then, Kessel,
Your solid drink.
Kessel Lane, streetlights, parking lot, contingency vote, proposed by the finance committee.
All right.
Do we want to talk about that one? If you're gonna have it on the contingency vote.
No, drop it. I think the consensus was, well, also, I think it's drop it.
Okay, gone.
Which one is that, Gordon?
It was 46A.
I talked about it.
46A?
46A.
Oh, I have four, I have it as 43.
843?
Yeah, that's what I have.
43 I have is Kessel.
I do too.
Yeah.
Oh, I was talking about 46A.
What?
What do we get?
I don't know, if I can ask the board I'll ask the board Thursday again.
Ask us.
No,
On
my
the
board.
contingency.
Oh, you guys are meeting Thursday? What is the contingency vote?
Okay, the idea being that if we voted no and the other two towns voted yes, like
Yeah.
Silver Lake, now we have to have another town meeting. Because
To vote the line.
so that's $2,000. Let's have a town meeting.
Did it jump over?
And whether And people were talking, did it make better, if you really wanted to know, would it make more strategic sense to, in fact, not even allow us to have a contingency, therefore by putting more pressure on the other two towns? Kingston, it sounds like is recommending, I still haven't gotten, I mean, they said that tonight, I haven't gotten confirmation from Kevin Donovan over in Kingston. I'm not saying they're wrong, but.
So the finance committee did recommend,
Right.
Plimpton responded back to Silver Lake. The Plimpton Finance Committee reported back to Silver Lake and said they don't want to see more than a 2.5% increase.
Oh, well, that's another reason not to do the contingency.
Okay,
And that was the last correspondence I have with Plimpton.
okay, because Christy and Joy was gonna try to get a meeting together, but I haven't heard, so they must have decided.
So, I mean, I'm of the favor of recommending a dollar difference or whatever the number is that we recommend at town meeting, voting at town meeting a number, not voting no, so that they can accept our number, or we've got to come up with a difference of 25 grand
No, I understand.
at a future point.
Right, which we'll have. I mean, we're not, it's not gonna break somebody else's line item, because all the figures assume.
So do we still have OPEB in
And you're
here?
also talking about
Yes, it's
Yes.
a line item.
having a
It's
false.
a line item
Yeah,
now,
right.
so.
It's in
a
the
line
actual
item.
operating budget.
Did you guys vote it?
Yes.
Did you not cut it?
It did not get cut, no.
No,
Okay.
It was level funded, not 35,000.
You're all right with that?
So, well, so if you have to vote the budget in order to,
Satisfy the assessment.
in order to satisfy the assessment, we vote a different number, we are a no vote, blah, blah, blah. I would recommend whatever number that we vote different, we put into OPEB. Or some number so that you don't, so it's just a transfer, and we don't have to have a special town meeting.
No, we have to have it.
No, you don't have to have
You
it.
can't put it into OPEB, because OPEB's
Yeah,
an
it's a
irrevocable
two-thirds.
trust.
Okay, good call on that.
You
Good
can't
call.
not take
What,
money.
but you could transfer that money out
Put it
of,
into the reserve fund.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you could put it in the reserve.
no, because that's unforeseen
It was
extraordinary.
unforeseen that those two
So-
towns would be so dastardly to approve this.
Stabilization.
Well, stabilization's 2/3.
But that's a 2/3 vote in another town
Yeah.
meeting, so.
Yeah, I would be of the opinion that we tax the money for that, and we
So
do
put it into a line item.
put it into a line item so that the money is, when the tax rate is set, the money's taxed, because I'm pretty sure the other two towns are gonna vote it. So there's your contingency. And then, well, then you turn around. No, then you turn around at the next town meeting,
Yeah.
if the no happens,
Right.
and use those funds to lower the tax rate for the next year, for
Oh,
the
yeah.
25 grand.
Or we get to May 13th of 2019, and we do the line item transfer then.
Right, but as long as that money's,
Yes, I-
Taxed.
Yes, right.
you
No, I
tax the
understand.
money, and then you can do the line item transfer, and if the other towns don't vote it, then you use
Right.
that money and you do
Yeah.
to not tax that money the
Right,
following
yes.
year. And there's your contingency.
That's a good idea.
So not OPEB, not reserve, but some other line we vote that, we should probably vote tonight, to be honest, so it's into the print.
There was a 2-2 vote,
What was the 2-2 vote?
the Silver Lake assessment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you-
we're still printing their number.
Oh, all right.
We have to print their number with the note.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So I'm saying pick another line. Or pick an article.
Insurance. This is insurance.
It is insurance. So whatever number you vote,
I'm just gonna tidy up people.
Yeah, but if you put $25,000 on the line, then you got a whole bunch of explanation in front of the town.
I don't mind making that explanation to the town.
What kind of money are you putting on?
25K.
Well, The group insurance line went down by 56.
Well, that sounds good, that's good.
So if you put it in group insurance,
In a
it's
couple
still
of-
going down. It's not gonna draw attention, you know what I mean? If you put the extra 25,000 in group insurance, we already brought it down 56,000, so there's room in there. It's not gonna bring it to anyone, it's not gonna be something that sticks out like a sore thumb.
What's the other committee members feel? Do you want to do that? If you put in the, well, we told them that we'd vote we'd vote again at their next meeting. So
And
do you
it's
want
most likely not gonna be a draw then, because if you have 5 members.
So
I'll abstain on principle.
do you want to talk about that in the next meeting? Where to place that money? If we're going to vote a different number?
It's 1040.
And it's also not like it was 3 years ago where it was a $150,000 difference.
No, I mean, when I did the numbers real quick, I showed it to Mel, it was 146. So if they didn't take the loss for state aid, we'd be looking at 146,000.
If they went up.
If they went up the same number that they went up. So we had to come up with, $30,000 because of the loss in state aid, thereabouts. And they're gonna lose again next year in state aid.
I think next year, the finance committee and we'd like the selectmen to be on board with us, that we tell them 3% is no longer 3%. 3% is really 2% because you're not getting the state aid money.
Yeah.
Speaking as somebody who's running for school committee,
Yeah, it was on a globe. Yeah. Well, but they've known that for 3 months. The governor's budget came out and the numbers are the same as they've been.
This kind of came across my news feed. I only saw the title, I didn't read the whole thing.
so did we do all the money articles? Do we need to meet Thursday?
No, I think we've done.
No, we don't need to meet Thursday.
So can we cancel Thursday's meeting?
Did we do Plymouth County Extension Service for?
Yeah, 150, that was the very first one we did.
I just wanted to tidy up. Did we do the Water Reserve Fund 25?
Yep.
And did we do
Yeah, so I think we're pretty much wrapped up.
the elementary school wireless and fiber optics?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, those are the ones I didn't have checked off.
Yeah.
Overlay, did we ask for any money out of overlay this year? Okay.
Sue's gonna send a draft of everything that.
I think what we're gonna try to do, Gordon, is not touch that money if we can. There's
Okay.
about 300,000.
Oh, that's it?
And, yeah.
Usually
So-
that's 300 per
And
year.
what we're doing, we're trying to keep what we're asking for on the tax
Did they
recap
appoint you,
lower
Kim?
now.
Okay.
They put
So
you
that-
liaison?
We're doing it Thursday, but it could be Troy.
Right.
Either Troy or I.
See
Okay.
how it goes for a few years.
So.
Are we not doing the rest of these?
What else do we have to do?
A lot of it's
A
zoning.
lot of it's zoning that hasn't been addressed.
Pilot.
And that
That
will
whole
include the
thing. We
street,
haven't
that
even-
includes the streetlights and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Those are okay, like, people aren't gonna be worried about those, it's the big ticket items that people wanna see.
So the only other one we could do real quick, increase sales tax on marijuana to 3%. Is that the highest we can go?
Yeah.
Is there a motion to
What
recommend
one's that one?
B4?
I recommend to tax those potheads as much as we can.
Before they change their mind.
Is there a motion to recommend increasing sales tax on marijuana retail to 3% or take any action thereon?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay, we did that one. 4-0.
Actually, yeah.
Okay. So we will see everybody Monday. Thank you.
Bring your boxing gloves.
Thank you.
That wasn't before.
B4. I had it listed as
Bingo.
B4.
There's 2 befores.
Make a motion to adjourn.
It's been moved. Is there a second to adjourn?
Happy birthday to you. She gets to say
All those in favor?
Aye. Thanks, Mel.